on YouTube also, but I chickened out.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about dynamite.
Yeah, YouTube might be a little risky. People get their feelings hurt when you just try to discuss topics.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Even if you don't pick a side, you're just discussing like, we're going to talk about apples. I'm allergic to apples. Like, fuck off.
Why do you hate grapes? You're like, huh?
Yeah,
Wait,
like,
what?
I didn't say that.
It's
Well,
just about
you didn't say
apples.
you love them, then you must hate them.
Tell me about the Nobel guy.
Oh yeah, so Arthur, I think his name was Arthur Nobel. I could be making that up, but I know it's Nobel. That he was the guy who invented dynamite, and once he realized what he did, he thought it was great, but then he didn't realize that humans are also good people and evil people. And his creation of dynamite was good to help people to like blow up the rocks and like build trains better and do all. Then he realized it's going to be used to kill people. So he regretted it for the rest of his life and created the Nobel Peace Prize.
Aw.
Because he felt so bad about making something that was going to be used to kill so many people. And that wasn't his intent, right? He never intended it for people.
That doesn't actually make sense to me. Do you want me to tell you why?
Sure.
So he's incentivizing people to like do peaceful shit.
Yes.
But isn't his thing that made life better turn out to be bad? So like, doesn't he understand that unintended consequences can happen from peaceful shit?
I guess that's why he wanted to try to get people to do things that could only be used for peace, like clean water. You invented a way to
Waterboard.
desalinate water. Yeah, you can yeah, exactly. To desalinate water, right? So I don't know, just and then that whole prize became corrupted when Obama was president because the day he was elected, he got the Nobel Peace Prize just for being elected.
He did?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Just for being elected?
Just because he was elected and he wasn't a Republican, they gave him the Nobel Peace Prize, and then he went on to drone strike the most people in American history.
Wait, are you serious? There has to be another reason, right?
No, they thought that because it was the Iraq War with George Bush, right? And as long as that went on for however many years, and then when Obama was elected, he was going to end the war in Iraq, so he brought the peace to the world. Meanwhile, he drone striked and killed thousands of people.
So
Like
just
he
his
killed,
election was an act of peace?
according to this prize. So all these
Seems
prizes,
like this is a shitty prize.
it is now. It used to be like revered and like if you got it, it's like, wow, you must have done something really well. And then when Obama got it the day after he was elected, people were like, wait a minute, this is bullshit.
Yeah. Hold on.
Because he's killed more kids than any other president in history. Yes, I said it. Because when he
he also
drone
killed his
strike
chef,
a
so you better
wedding.
watch out. That was
He wanted
recently.
to kill one ISIS dude, and the only way they could find him, he was at this wedding. And they're
What?
like, all the kids are at the wedding, like all the families are there. Like maybe we should wait till he leaves. And like, nope, Obama said get him. We don't want him to get it. So he just nuked the whole wedding with
How crazy
drones.
that he has bomb in his name.
Right? Right?
Yeah, pay attention, y'all. Okay. So today we're not talking about that, but before we do, hey, Cool
I gotta bring
Frog's
up
here,
Rumble
Mr.
chat.
Hideous is here, Squabble is here, Sib Rev, he's
Oh, speaking of dark, I saw your guys'
Yep.
episode Thursday. Well, I watched it Friday because I can't stay up that late. I'm old. And you're going for some contest on Rumble for hours or something?
Oh, so there is a PB from our chat.
Yes.
She mentioned that Rumble was having a small creators program, I think something to that effect. And
Yep.
they were picking 50 channels, and if you were picked for it, you had to stream 5 days a week, 2 hours per stream,
Sure.
for 30 days. And so if I had been picked for it, I actually don't think I was. I'm not sure. It just closed like the day before yesterday, I think. I should check my email. But
Did
yeah,
you do
so
like
if I were to get picked
monthly?
for that, then I would have to stream 5 days a week.
Yeah. Did they do that like as a monthly contest or quarterly or just a random one to see
It
how it would
sounds like
go?
it's just a trial thing that they hope is helpful and useful for smaller creators. You have to have at least 50 subs and less than 2,000 or 1,000. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
And you have to post every day to all your socials. So there's,
I like that by Rumble that they're
right?
keeping it to like small subs, so they're not giving the big guys even a chance to bite the apple. I like that.
Right. And what they're showing probably small creators is that if you're consistent and it's
That's the
2 hours
hardest
a day,
part.
5 days a week, and you tell the people that are already interested, you knew about it, then you probably will see some success. And they're
Yes.
paying like $500 for the month if
Oh,
you
Jesus.
meet those 3 criterias.
Let's
So I'm
take a
like, "I'm
swing at
gonna
the ball.
apply."
Let's take a swing.
Yeah. So I did apply. Um,
I said, if you need
eh
extra hours or stuff, I got nothing to do.
I
Especially
appreciate
come
that.
winter. Winter comes, I'm inside 99% of the time.
Ugh, do you hate it or do you love that?
I hate the cold.
Mm.
I go out and bring in firewood and check my traps. That's all I do in the winter.
So I don't see an email. I don't know when it would actually happen. Um, just send up your prayers. Talk to Jesus about it. Is that coffee? I want some. The
Tea.
Nobel Prize is a joke. This is hideous talking about Obama. He said he did for literally nothing. The Nobel Prize is a joke. Used to be prestigious. I'm gonna give Nova the Nobel Prize for science.
See? It's
That's how big of a
petite.
joke it is. Obama, Obama. Oh, abomination. Abomination. He said they have enough programs for small creators or bigger creators. Cool Folks said, so then Trump was nominated 4 times for his actual peace in the Middle East and was not given it. Obama got his Peace Prize because he was the first Black president. Those things are not the same.
Right.
Do you think that just electing the Black president showed a form of peace in our nation? Like a healing wound? Or this nation anyway?
Yes, I wanna say yes and no, but yes, but it's stupid.
Yeah.
So, yes, it did break the glass ceiling, and yes, it did stop everybody going, "We've never had a black
We
president. We've
fucking
never had a
voted
black
him in.
president." So,
We
here
should
you
have got
go.
the award,
Right.
not him.
Well, that's the amazing part was all the people that voted Obama in were the ones that voted Trump in. So all the racist people, all the racist Republicans had to vote for Obama for him to get elected back in the day.
Because he got the most votes ever.
No, Joe Biden apparently had more votes
Well,
than
before
Obama.
that.
Yeah, believe that one. So you have your first chance at a black president. You got a lot of people, like all the Democrats are going to vote for the black guy. You got probably, I don't know, a handful or 10-20% of the Republicans are going to vote just for the black guy, just to break the glass ceiling. Especially the independents were just voting just to vote for the black guy, whoever he was. They didn't even care who he was, right? Just to break the glass ceiling. So that's why he won. And he was a smooth talker.
Mhm. That's the thing. That's what people liked about him is that he was
Yeah.
suave. That's why RFK don't got a fucking chance.
Yeah, as much as you may hate or like Obama, he's a good talker. He's very suave. That's why Vivek Ramaswamy is so likable.
I don't like him at all.
I think he's going to be Trump's vice president.
I think you're crazy.
It's him or a woman. And Carrie Lake's the
Um,
only one I can see possible.
I'm with that.
I like Carrie
Most
Lake.
popular is potato. I bet Biden gets the Peace Prize once he starts 2 wars on 2 fronts.
Yeah, I
Oh,
think
that's
Trump was
it.
the
I
first
thought that
one
was
to
cool.
not start a war.
Yeah, I saw somebody arguing about that on Twitter, and somebody was like they were naming his things about how he left Afghanistan, and they were like or started whatever about Afghanistan, and they were like, "So there was a war during Trump's presidency?" They're like, "He inherited a war." You guys are
Right,
fuck
right. Well, that's what the
ugh.
Democrats are crying about. He's going to start World War III. He's going to start World War III. And the first thing he did was ended like a whole bunch of conflicts overseas. Like, nope, we're out. We're done. See ya.
Yeah,
That
they
should have
were
got him
like,
the
"He's
Peace
a
Prize.
dictator, he's going to, take
He was the
over."
first one to walk across the North North
They
Korea
handed
border.
him us. They were like, "Here they are, they're gonna be locked down in their houses. What do you wanna do? What's the first thing?" He's like, "Give states' rights." Like, "What the fuck? You're a dictator, you're not supposed to say that."
Right, exactly. I want to give the lower people more power. Oh, how evil.
Yeah.
I think that's what
Anyway,
for America to be great again, I think that's what you guys need to do is you need to go back to states have more power than the Fed.
yeah.
I think every state should be able to overrule the federal government within the bounds of their state. So if there's 2 laws that contradict, the state should get to like even say marijuana. Because it's still
Mhm.
illegal federally, is it not, in the states?
They took it off Schedule 1, but I
Because
I
that's what they
don't know. I
used to
don't
do.
really
Because
know how that
California
works.
legalized it, but the federal government didn't. So they were
Yeah.
still arresting people all over California for weed because people are like it's legal here.
Not
Like, oh,
all over California for weed, so you'd have to be it had to be related to fe like, I live next to a military installation, so if I'm smoking there, then yeah, the federal government can get involved. Other than that, they can fuck off.
Couldn't they get you for, like, weight? If you had too much weight, it was now a federal
Who who
crime
who
or
who's
trafficking
gonna
or
weigh
by a
that? They don't have
school.
police officers. They don't have none of that.
That's the other thing I hate about the cops, when they bust people for, like, grow ops, they would rip the plants out of the ground with the roots, like, the dirt and everything, and they'd
Yeah.
weigh the whole plant with the root like, "We got him with 50
That
kilos." Like,
happened to
"No, you
somebody I
didn't."
know, actually, and thankfully, the judge wasn't a shitbag, but they were trying to say that they were an ounce, and that was, like, with the dirt, with everything, and the
Yeah,
the
see,
judge
that's
was like,
that's
"No way."
so corrupt, like,
Yeah.
super corrupt.
It Okay, wait, hold on. Did you see this? Vladimir Putin had a heart attack last night.
Sure he did.
He's been sick, I think. Says they
I'm a
found him on the floor, lying on the floor, rolling his eyes. You
I'm
don't believe
sure
this?
Tim was in Russia witnessing this himself, the guy who wrote the article.
Tim? Yeah, Tim McNulty.
Yeah. The Russians just let anybody in to hang out with Putin, and because Putin wouldn't kill somebody that leaked that out either, right?
I don't know. Are you saying that this is the only way that they wouldn't tell us if that really happened?
I think it's complete propaganda. Just like they were saying the leader of China, Xi Jinping, was dying of cancer or something, and there was going to be a coup and a cabinet shuffle, and the only thing that happened was 70 of his cabinet members disappeared. I wouldn't trust anything the media says about Russia, good or bad.
How come?
Well, America shouldn't talk about their leaders when they have Biden as their leader. Should just be quiet in
Touche.
the leader front.
All right, we wanna talk about eugenics?
Sure.
Do you know what it is?
I not yes, kind of. It's like genetic breeding for different traits.
Yeah, basically.
So there's people like, yes, it's good, or no, it's bad. And I think everyone that hears eugenics, I think, instantly goes, oh, that's evil, that's bad, that's wrong. Or do you think the opposite?
I think they do. I think you're right. They probably
Their initial thoughts, I think most people go, eugenics? Oh,
based on the
racism.
word, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kinda has a bad feeling to it.
Yeah. Well, that because the people who started it had bad intentions about it.
Did they?
I think, yeah. Mr. Kellogg, your Kellogg cereal,
Mhm.
he was all about eugenics and segregation and keeping the races like,
Yeah,
separate. And
and started the people who started it were thinking that they were being helpful because,
yes,
you know, it was harder like the greater good, the good for the
right.
person that wasn't gonna be born, blah, blah, blah. So, I don't think they were doing it for an evil thing to start with.
To start with, right. The road to hell is paved with those good intentions.
Mhm.
Like Hitler. Hitler didn't have the intention to exterminate Jewish people in the beginning.
He did.
What's that?
Yes, he did.
Not from the very beginning. That was
Yeah,
later
he
once
did,
he's.
because he wrote My Struggle while he was in prison, and he was modeling that after the American program that had been going on for 20 years, so he had to have been thinking about it going into that.
Oh, see, I thought he wasn't going. I thought he just wanted to have like a separate group, like to have the separate segregation for the whites and the blacks in America. I thought he just wanted that for the Jews, not to completely annihilate them.
Well, it was more of an Aryan thing, it was more of like a okay, hold on, we should look that up.
I
First
thought
of
he
all,
would. I thought he didn't go full like psychotic. Let's gas them all until he was like on the main line of meth and crack and stuff, speedballs and.
well, like, his whole thing started is that they were like he wanted to get rid of, like, the feeble-minded, just exactly how it was here, you know,
Right.
if sort of anybody's sick.
Exactly what Trudeau's doing today.
This is I mean,
Oh, oh, Trudeau's new one? He just now wanted to move suicide into any drug addicts who want to kill themselves.
you know what I was thinking about this? Is that you said last week that the medical assisted dying people have called you twice,
Yeah.
and then I was like, "Hey, we should do, eugenics," and you're like, "Yeah, I got my DNA and my 23andMe," and I started thinking later, I was like, "Oh, well, that's why they're calling him, you feeble-minded bastard, you showed them your DNA." They need to get rid of you.
Exactly, right? You gotta stay off that radar.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when they introduced the medically assisted dying in Canada, they set the criteria, the bar so high, it was gonna be hard for anyone to do it. And after 5 years of Trudeau, the bar is now so low that anybody can do it as long as you just sign up. It's crazy now. So drug addicts can now just kill themselves when they're having withdrawal or they feel like their life is over.
I think that seems fair. You shouldn't have to have some kind of disability.
Shouldn't you get like the option to get treatment? See, they don't. This is what they tell you. They won't even give you the option to get like a good like drug detox or drug rehabilitation because that's not in the. There's no financial incentive for that. But killing
Oh,
you gets your whole. So if you're a drug addict, you're probably on welfare or something, right? Because you're not working. You're one of those hardcore druggies. So you're a drain on the
okay.
system. So every month the government's got to give you $1,000. But if we
What?
can,
Hold on, they do you just gotta be a druggie and they'll give you a grand a month in
well,
Canada?
yeah, welfare in Canada, you just have to walk up and say, I need welfare. And they go, okay,
Have
that's it. Then you have to prove that you're quote unquote actively looking for work.
Oh, yeah, so it's the same as here.
Yeah. So, which like my mother worked for the welfare department her whole life. She's like, there's fifth generation families on welfare because they just train the next generation how to use the system right.
I had an idea about how to use eugenics and welfare, I can't remember it.
Well, I think if you're on welfare, you should be put on birth control the second you're on welfare.
Put
Because,
on birth control?
yes, before you get
Why?
handed your money, you get that little depot shot
Why?
because that's how they breed. They just get welfare to breed because the more kids they have, the more welfare they can get. And that's part, like my mother said, that's why there's fifth generation families because they just, the more they breed, they know how many kids to have, they know not to have a relationship. Like,
You think that the state is so it gives it so much money that that's why they're doing that?
oh, 100%. There's articles, the government even wrote about it that maids has freed up some of the stress on the pension plan in Canada.
But that's getting rid of the disability, not getting rid of
It's
the
getting rid
people
of,
that are having children to milk the system, right? Are those
yeah,
the
because
same
you just
thing?
make, yeah, you make their life so difficult that they give up.
The the who?
Everyone. So like homeless people started applying for maids because they'd rather be killed by the government than freeze to death or struggle on the street all
Yeah,
winter.
I could feel that.
So
Why
the
the fuck
government
not?
gets,
I think it should be legal to I'm like,
right, but the government spends
if
say
your mother can abort you, you
$10 million.
should be able to abort you.
Right, but the government spends $10 million for this maids program to justify killing people, but they won't spend $10 million to help the homeless find apartments or get steady work
Yeah,
or,
but how do you know? Maybe there should be well, this that's not this show, but maybe there are programs to help people.
oh, I trust me, I've looked into it. There are programs, but they make the bar so impossible to meet. So they can go out there and say, we created a new program. Oh, it's going to help so many people, blah, blah, blah. But when you go to try to apply, yeah, if you have like your big toe shorter than your middle toe, you don't qualify. Like they're crazy bars to meet.
Hmm.
Like for income tax, I'm on disability. So I get disability check every month, but I still have to pay the government back taxes because apparently I earn too much money on disability. Right. Yeah. Figure that out. So
I mean, that's
So
very
the
strange.
government determined the poverty line in Canada is $12,000 a year. So if you earn less than that a year, you're considered impoverished in Canada. I don't get $12,000 a year for disability.
So then how do you have to pay taxes?
That you tell me? That's the government.
Well, don't you do your own taxes?
Yeah, and the government says I owe the money because that's too much money. I earn too much money, so now I have to pay a percentage of my income, which the government gives me, back to the government.
Damn.
So that's why people would rather kill themselves than try and fuck with the government like this.
Dorothy said, "Just end fucking welfare, Eve. Ever thought about that? Give that money
Yes,
back to the people who earned it."
right. Think
You say
before welfare was created, the church was the provider of welfare.
mhm.
So if all your small churches stayed good and had your good congregation and good collection plate stuff, they were the ones that took care of all the poor people, and they helped find those people jobs, and the church was the small government with a heart, not evil corporation with, cold hearted, you don't qualify shit.
We could probably argue about that. Sibling Revelry said, federal tax dollars should go to defense and infrastructure. That's it. Everything else should be covered by local communities that want to fund everything for everyone all of the time.
Exactly. I agree.
Canada only still exists because of the USA, so it's a welfare country? Is that true?
80% of the oil and gas mined in Canada is sold to America.
Thank you for that. Bring back local charities and mutual aid societies, the church and the mutual aid societies. But
Yes.
if you were getting your help from the church, you were accountable to the group. So if you were a
Right.
piece of shit, they would cut you off.
Exactly. So if you're the local crack dealer, you weren't getting welfare from the church. Which I think is the way it should be.
Because they wanted you to reform your life.
Right. Well, just think, if someone said, we're going to get rid of welfare and everybody gets to keep 50% more of their tax dollars in their pocket, I think everybody would vote for it. Because welfare is massive amounts of money, like huge. In the trillions in the States, for sure. Billions in Canada.
But if the state won't let you get rid of your, well, I don't know, welfare is welfare the same as disability?
Basically, yeah, social assistance, government
So
assistance.
if your country got rid of it, you'd be fucked.
Yeah, I'd be just living off the
And you
land.
don't care? You'd
No,
for that?
exactly. I think I should live off the land or have some help by like a church or a family or something like that. I don't think the government should be doing it.
Do they force you to take their money?
No.
Well,
I paid into it. So I paid my taxes my whole life. I'm getting some money back.
do you have do they
Like
show
you
you
guys,
that?
here, see, like you guys have 401ks, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can pay into that your whole life and you can take it out, can't you? Whenever you want.
Bro, if you take it out early, there's a giant fucking
penalty.
fee, but yeah.
Right. We can't do that in Canada. So we can pay into our pension our whole life, and when we die, the government keeps it. Whereas if you
don't
die,
use it,
yeah, the government keeps it.
well,
But if
so
you
it's
die,
so that's different. It sounds like you're conflating two things. My 401k is my money that I'm voluntarily doing. The state takes my SSI and all of that other things, and we don't get, if we pay into that, and if we die, we don't get any of that back either. But
your 401k is I thought you guys had it
no,
deducted by the
401k is
government.
voluntary. That's our retirement. No.
Okay.
So the other services that we pay for out of our paycheck, no matter what, we definitely don't get that shit back either.
Yeah.
But you're right. But you can see it like every few years they'll send you a thing where it says like, this is how much you've paid in, this is how much you've ever taken out, and this is kind of where you're at, so you can get an idea.
Yeah. So you can choose to have your own savings account basically.
Yeah,
With a 401k.
And a lot of times, like in California, your employer will match what you put in, so that's always really nice.
Yeah, that's a great benefit. Here we don't have that. Unless you work for like a big corporation with a private 401k.
That sucks.
And even then, you can't. So, like, I used to work at a big company and I had money in my pension, but it's locked in. So I wasn't even allowed to access it without applying to the government to say that, hey, can I get my own money, please? I'm poor, Mr. Government. And the government had to say, yeah, you don't have any money. We'll let you have it. But they could have said, no, fuck yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So even the government determines if you can have your own pension money or not.
Yeah, same here.
Crazy.
It's
your money.
Retarded.
It's your fucking. It shouldn't be allowed.
Mm-hmm. And you it's interesting. Hideous said Nova just earned half of a respect point because you said take away my disability too, but since I paid into it, I'm gonna use it.
Right. Oh, I'll tell you, if it's even if it hurts me and it's good for the overall society, I'm kind of for it. Which comes back to the eugenics thing.
Still Not Banned here said they're here to shit on eugenics. Well, Nova's for it. He thinks that you think people should be at least put on birth control. How do you feel about sterilization?
Predators should all get sterilized for sure.
Okay,
Just
even though why not castrated? Why sterilized?
Either or. I'm good with either or.
Well, if
like Cyrax, Just think of Cyrax. He molested that little blind Billy kid, and if someone would have sterilized his father when he raped that girl back in the day, Cyrax never would have been born. So it would have saved that little girl or that blind Billy kid.
See, I knew you were going to be in favor of eugenics first thing. Welcome to the show. Still not banned here. You can hate Nova, not me.
Oh no, no, no! I'm just talking. I
What
guess we
about
have to figure
sterilization?
out how far away we're viewing the eugenics lens, because I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's like
yeah, right? Because
small
it's so different now.
scale
Mhm.
individual freedoms is one thing, and then you move up to like your community, and then you move up to your country, and then you move up to like your whole planet. Because theoretically, with eugenics, you could cure a lot of diseases and ailments just with crossbreeding, but then it's mandatory
Yeah.
forced crossbreeding, so you lose your
But you
freedom, but the
can't
whole
experiment on
population.
people, so well, you're supposed to not be able to experiment on people. Let me
Oh
show you
no,
this.
no, it's all legal now. They're doing it
No, it's
everywhere.
not.
Yeah, they're making human pig hybrids. China's doing it. There's all
Yeah, but
kinds of countries are doing it now.
human pig hybrids? Really?
Yes. It's yeah,
Gross.
straight up legal. They're
Well, why
doing
is
it.
this
Yeah.
guy who made the CRISPR babies an asshole?
Well, that's where you're getting into your small individual freedoms, right? Do you want to be the person who you're born to be, or your
No,
parents genetically
no.
create you?
Well, what the fuck? If you can make a pig human, that's way worse than you're HIV resistant,
Right.
right?
It's just whose tool. I guess you got to take the eugenics tool, like a handgun, as in a police officer's possession, it could be a good thing. In a criminal's possession, it could be a really, really bad thing.
I mean,
And I think once you throw money into the mix, I think it becomes 90% bad outcome versus 10% good outcome once you involve money.
they're using mitochondrial DNA to create humans from unwilling donors. They
Yes.
did it to me. I have children I didn't create or consent to being created. Hold on, questions. Also, doing things like growing organs to harvest them. That's you think that's bad? It's been possible
They're,
to create humans in an
that's what they do
artificial.
in Chinese prisons.
Sick
So
hybrids? Okay, what the fuck? I wasn't gonna go here. Let's look for a pig human real quick.
cat's coming in hot.
Okay, but real pig human? Shut the fuck up. I
Yes.
hate the
Because they're
internet. These
trying
are
to
not
create a
real.
superhuman. Stalin actually tried to do this with gorilla or chimpanzee DNA. They wanted to intermix it with the humans to make like super soldiers, like
What the?
with the humans, with the human brain, but the power of a gorilla.
I don't want this.
No, National Geographic, you're fucked. They want your credit card, they want your birth certificate.
Okay, well, let's see.
And it's
Yeah,
America at the forefront of this, but what they do is they go to China and do it in a Chinese lab, so then they have no, they wipe their hands if something bad happens.
I caved. Human pig hybrid created in the lab. Here are the facts. Is that? Show me this. Oh,
So I think there's a guy, he might be from New York, I don't know for sure, but he just had the first pig heart
At this
transplanted
point,
directly into him. Because they can manipulate the pig's DNA enough and his DNA enough with injections that they
I
lock
hate
together right.
this. This is breathing.
Yeah. Have you seen the movie Gattaca or The
I don't
Island?
think so. Mm-mm.
So the movie The Island had, I think, Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson. Great movie, by the way. But what it was they had a prison where all the rich people had their DNA clones raised from birth in this prison. And then if the rich people needed a heart transplant or a liver transplant or something like that, they would just harvest it from their clone that was kept in this prison.
Oh.
So it was your exact, so your body would accept it easier. It would be
Because
healthier.
it's your clone, are you allowed to do whatever the fuck you want to it? It's
That's where
you.
we're getting into the
But it's
ethics part,
not
right?
you, right? Because it
Is
has
it a
feelings?
human? Is a clone a human?
Is it created
Can you
through
murder a clone?
wait, hold on. Is I think a human how is a clone made? Like, does
Same
it
way
the
they just
sperm and
take
the egg?
the DNA. So think of your DNA as a recipe. So you got your TGAC letters. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
and they just take your recipe and copy and paste it and put it in a petri dish and produce a new one. Basically, they take a
I mean,
sliver of your DNA and just regrow it from
yeah, but, like,
just
you
like you do
can't
a
take a
clone.
sliver of my DNA and have a tiny baby in the petri dish that's gonna
Yeah.
grow. I'm at
Yes. Yes, they can. They just take that DNA and they go back to the point where you were an embryo, and then they hit the start button.
what?
Yeah, seriously. They can regrow your dog right now for 50 grand.
That's
If you
it?
Yeah.
Can will he be better? Can I genetically modify him to shit further away from the fucking back door? Because
Yes,
good lord.
yes, you can. You can change his eye color, you can change his
That
fur color.
I don't want him to change, I just need his mind to be a little smarter.
Or that but
He's
that's where
feeble-minded.
the good eugenics thing comes in. So if you had, if you got pregnant and you found out that your baby had Down syndrome, you could go in there and genetically engineer it and cure that Down syndrome out of him before he
Well,
fully
they
grows.
that's the thing, right now they do test for that kinda stuff,
Right, but they
even
test for
still.
it, but they can't fix it. This with
I
eugenics, they
well,
could fix
what's
it.
the fix? Is the fix an abortion?
No, the fix is they take a sliver of your good healthy DNA and they insert it into the baby's DNA, so
Now
when it
what's the fix?
replicates itself, so think of a young baby has 1,000,000 DNA strands, and
Mhm.
when it's 1 years old, it has 2,000,000, when it's 2 years old, it has 10,000,000, so when it
Okay.
replicates those strands, if you fix it early, it'll replicate the new repaired DNA and not the old broken one.
And how do they do it now? What's the point of testing now was, like, kind of the question.
Now that well, that's the evil part is why they test now is do you wanna kill it before it grows or not?
So we're still doing eugenics?
Yes, that's the only
But
reason
here's
to
the
test for
thing,
Downs.
Christian women, I don't know how to say that. Non-Jews, so Aryan women?
No, Aryan, I think's just white.
Uh, I don't think well, we can look it up. We do it once we're pregnant. They're like, "Okay, let's test. Let's see if you have all of these markers that could mean you might have
They can test
XYZ."
both parents before you even have sex to see if you'll have a Down baby.
Yeah, the Jews do it.
Yeah.
Like, they test before they get married to see if they're compatible because marriage is they're kind of like Catholic in that way, where it's like marriage is for
Well, and
offspring.
here's what comes in is your community or cultural eugenics, because what Jews do and why people think the Jews are out to kill everybody is that Jews will make sure that their child who's a doctor won't marry somebody with a lower IQ than a doctor. They will make sure that they'll guilt trip that child into marrying someone of equal intelligence or greater. You can never marry a lower intelligence.
You're trying to tell me they learned something in Germany?
Yes.
Mm, well, they welcome. Silver lining, am I
And
right?
it's the same reason you see like the royal families try to keep all their bloodlines the same. It's because they think they're doing a good thing. The only problem is if you don't water your bloodline down enough, you start to get bad genetics like sickle cell anemia or hemophilia.
Yeah, well,
Like a
I
lot of the
don't
royals are hemophiliacs because of their small genetic lines.
if you know enough to, like, match your DNA to someone who also has dominant like, good dominant genes, wouldn't you know enough not to fuck your cousin, your first cousin, your
Well,
brother,
no, they were
whatever?
doing this back in the day because they thought the more pure your bloodline was, the
Oh,
better
they
it
didn't
was.
understand genetics whatsoever.
No, no, they don't.
They
They
just
knew the
thought
best they knew of genetics was Gregor Mendel. Have you heard that name before? We did him in like
no, no,
grade
no, that's
7.
way after all of these.
That was like in the 1800s, wasn't it?
Let's Google.
I think Gregor Mendel was in the 1800s. But yeah, he's the one that figured out you could breed pea plants for height or length or whatever you want just by crossbreeding the two tall ones. And that's where we got miniature ponies from. It was just
Aw.
genetically taking a short pony and a short pony, and you just keep breeding the shortest ones.
Why can't we just have puppies forever? All we have is teacup
Well, that's where you get your wiener dog.
chihuahuas?
Yeah, that's where you get your wiener dog,
No,
your little dogs, are
not
all
the
that you
same.
just keep crossbreeding the tiniest ones.
He was born in 1822.
Yes. Can't
He
see.
oh, I just went to his wiki.
He's like
Genetics.
I think he was considered like one of the godfathers of genetics.
Yeah.
Because he kind of figured out what genes were before even knew genes existed, like, because they couldn't see them with the microscope back then.
Let's see. Mendel's pea plants, blah blah blah, established many rules of heredity, now referred to as the Mendelian inheritance. The profound significance of Mendel's work was not recognized until the turn of the 20th century, more than 3 decades later, with the rediscovery of his laws.
Yeah, so he didn't even
And
get credit for it until he was dead.
ushering in the modern age of genetics.
So there was something they used. Well, this is something we use around here. So Gregor Mendel did the genetic thing, and now we have something called the Arctic apple. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
So it was an apple that was genetically modified not to brown after you cut it open. So when you cut up apple slices, if you don't eat them right away, they start to get that brown. It looks rotten real quick.
Yeah.
So McDonald's wanted it. They hired an engineer to come up with a new apple. So not, and they created the Arctic apple so they could package their apples, and they wouldn't go brown in the plastic Happy Meal bags for weeks.
You could just put like lemon or lime on there and it'll do the same thing.
Not compared to not compared to the genetically modified. They're way better. And they did it with eugenics with rice. They put vitamin B12, I think, in rice now, and it like helped like millions of people in Asia who down on basically rice only. So before, rice didn't have any vitamins at all, and now it has vitamin B12 or whatever it is in it. So there are good aspects to eugenics. Is how you apply them.
Yeah, there you go. Mendel, known as the father of modern genetics. So they were building off, or were they not? Were they building off of his, or was it later that people would build off of this?
Yeah, well, he did all of his hard work, and then someone rediscovered his hard work, and then they kicked it into overdrive.
Let's go to this one. History of Eugenics. Is this it? No. One of the, maybe it is. Go slow. Oh, it is. Okay. So this has like year by year. What the shit? This seemed easier to look at earlier.
Oh, the different evolutionary steps or accomplishments.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Okay.
so once they discovered that it could be done, that's when everybody went into like overdrive to go crazy with it.
Well, show up.
People knew of it for like thousands of
Technically,
years by breeding like the biggest stud horse or the fastest racehorse with the fastest female racehorse.
what the fuck? Now this picture's not showing up. Technically, they were talking about it long before Mendel because Aristotle and all of them were talking about it.
Yes.
So
You just
yeah, they
couldn't
kind of
prove
had
it.
a cursory understanding of it, right? And then Darwin talked about survival of the
Evolutionary
fittest,
advantage is
right?
right.
Mhm. And then his cousin is this guy, Galton.
Yes.
That is the cousin of the other dude, and he is like super nerd.
Yeah, and he didn't get respect until many, many years later.
I think he got respect in his time.
I think some people
I think
liked it, but they wouldn't swallow it or digest it at the time.
Yeah, I think Galton got a lot of love in his day, but now it's not looked at so great. But he did a lot of other shit like um
I think the crazy part
classifying
is back then
fingerprints.
people could look at eugenics and see it for it being an instrument and not how evil people would apply it. Like today, no one would ever think like,
They were applying it evilly though. They just didn't see that as evil.
yes, that's what I
They
mean. Oh yeah, I guess yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like they were using it for getting rid of the feeble-minded. There's a whole list.
But now, see, then there's where you come down to the is it evil or is it not? Just think if you could breed out mental retardation out of an entire country, would it be good or bad? Like,
Um, I don't
if you,
know
if
that
you could wave like a magic genetic wand and there'd be no more special needs children born in your country, every baby would be 100% perfectly healthy. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
that sounds like a good thing.
Right. But then it's a bad thing because we need all the diversity we can get. Well, no, not really.
No, it's a bad thing because you end up killing people.
No, you don't even let them have a chance to be born. So you can test the embryo, you can test the DNA 10 minutes after the egg is impregnated by the sperm.
That's when it has its own unique DNA. Doesn't that make it a human?
Or is it when the heart's there?
I don't believe in that.
But that's when it comes down. You got to figure out, test that DNA. And that's what they're doing with the Down syndrome babies. Oh, your baby doesn't have Downs, or oh, yes, he does. Do you want to like snip it out
In the
now?
Down
Or
syndrome thing, though okay, but in the quad screening, they'll screen you, and the statistics show that 40 of 1,000 women will show abnormal levels for their kid maybe having Downs, and 1 or 2 of their babies will actually have Downs. So you're
yeah.
never gonna have fucking kids because some test said maybe? Like,
Well,
what?
no,
Now the
now with
imagine how fucked the population would be if that were the case, because 'cause we're already fucked.
right. Oh yeah. But now with the advancements in genetics, when they test your baby and said you have a 1 in 40 chance that your kid's gonna have Downs, you can go, can I pay the $200 and just have that fixed up? And you're like, yep, there, gone. So now it's a
If they
0%
have
chance.
this modification shit.
Yes, this new technology they're using. Then it comes down to who gets access to it. Does everyone get to change their babies in
So,
utero,
with the
or just the
vaccine,
rich people?
we had those vaccines that came out for COVID. The one of them was the mRNA one.
That's the
Is that gene
gene.
modification? That's where they put in a new
100%.
thing, and they try to make it be the new thing that happens?
Yes, 100% correct.
So, that's interesting. So, because okay, why I find that interesting is that this is eventually sterilization of people is going to be go through the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court's gonna be like, "Yeah, it's fine because of the feeble-minded people," and they're gonna let me show you. They're
And
going
that's where the slippery slope comes in, right? So we're gonna just stop. We're gonna sterilize all the feeble-minded people. Okay, now we're gonna move up to all the people who don't have high school educations. Then we're gonna move up to all the Trump supporters. Then we're gonna move up to, right. So it's the slippery slope of how far up the line do you stop sterilizing? Because just like Canada with the euthanasia, it was only for the most extreme cases of disability, and
but what's
within 5
interesting
years,
about
it was
this
everyone.
couple things are interesting about this. They upheld the sterilization of the feeble-minded. The in the court, in the Nuremberg courts, they quoted the justice from this, talking about why they were doing what they were doing, and the thing that that justice, whatever his name was, I don't know what his name was, but he ends up quoting this lawsuit for his reasoning for that, for upholding the sterilization, and this is the compulsory vaccination for kids in school.
Everything comes back
1904
to for your safety. If the
for
government
your
ever says
safety.
it's for your safety, run. Doesn't matter if it's here's $1 million for your safety. Run from that $1 million.
How weird. Yep, from the government. We're here to help.
In
Is
Nuremberg, they hung all those doctors and all those people who were just doing their jobs.
did they hang him?
Yeah,
Okay,
publicly.
so in America okay, so they are working in America, we have these laws called Comstock Act, and we weren't allowed to talk about sex, masturbation, birth control, anything like that. What
Yeah.
does this say? Does it say that?
That the FCC or
Um,
the what do you got? FCC in the States?
this is the Comstock Act federal statute passed, FC I don't know who did this, by the Congress in 1873 is an act of the suppression of trade in and circulation of obscene literature and articles of immoral use.
Right.
This is the reason that Margaret Sanger, who they credit for modern for Planned Parenthood and modern day
Yeah.
abortion
Responsible for killing more
genetic
people than anyone ever. More than Hitler.
who?
Margaret Singer's killed more babies than
No,
Hitler.
she hasn't. She didn't kill
More
nobody.
babies than Hitler, yes, 100%.
She prevented more babies, but she didn't kill them.
If
She
it's
was
an
against
abortion,
abortion.
what's that?
She was against abortion.
No, she was pro-abortion.
Dude, no,
She's
she
the one who
wasn't.
wanted to abort all the black babies so America wasn't overpopulated with all the Negroes.
No, she wanted them to have birth control.
She wanted to sterilize all the blacks. She didn't want them to keep populating.
Show
Yeah,
me
that
where
was
you
her
see
whole
her
point.
saying that. Show me where you see her saying that.
Just look it up, Margaret
I
Sanger.
did. I've looked it up to try to find everything that everyone has said about her about these things.
That was the whole point
You're
of
going to
Planned
need to
Parenthood.
provide me with
It
your
wasn't
shit.
for what Planned Parenthood wasn't for white folk.
Planned Parenthood was it was for women. It was absolutely for white folk and black folk. They tried to do the Negro Project to reach out to just the black people because they were very mistrusting of our government, as they should be, and as they should have been maybe a little bit more going forward, but that was that it even says in the history of that got away from her, and it turned into something that she never intended it to be. She was against abortion. She
No,
was
don't trust her.
for
Don't.
birth
No,
control.
no. I exit out. Exit out.
Find me your proof or shut the fuck up. Those are the options.
Look up how
Mm-mm.
the
Where
races
did
of
you find it when you where did you see
Steven
this?
Crowder did like a whole 2-hour
Oh,
special
wow.
on her. He usually does pretty good research.
I bet, I have no comment on that because I don't know.
I found it. Go to Steven Crowder's Rumble and type in Margaret Singer.
It's Sanger.
Sanger, whatever.
With an A. No, I'm not gonna watch him tell me what propaganda he found. I don't care what the conservatives have to say about her. They oftentimes don't do their research. They just repeat the shit that someone else fucking told them. Let's watch Margaret Sanger, see what she had
In
to
her
say
own
about
words,
herself.
sure.
And this is, like, after the fact, like, in the I don't know, maybe the 40s. She died in '66, so let me find her interview. This is actually I watched this last night. It's so cool because it's like it's we don't do cigarettes on TV anymore. This is sponsored by the cigarettes, and the guy goes,
Oh, yeah, the old school, yeah.
I guess you guys will see it. Yeah, let's see it.
What's the news now? All the news is sponsored by Pfizer for their drugs, and then they pump the vaccine, and then they tell the news article, oh, it's killing everybody. It's the same thing as tobacco now.
Good evening. What you're about to witness is an unrehearsed, uncensored interview on the issue of birth control.
Why
It
did
will
they
be a
all
free
talk like
discussion
this?
of an adult topic.
What?
Why did they all talk like this when they were talking on the TV back in the 1920s?
That's that journalism voice. They still do it.
A topic that we feel merits public examination. My name is Mike Wallace. The cigarette is Philip Morris.
Mike Wallace, look at you, dude.
Isn't that funny? My name is Mike Wallace. The cigarette is Philip Morris. I'm like, your cigarette's called Philip? I like the way he says it. We don't really have to watch that.
Is the best natural smoke you ever
Yeah, true.
Right? All these
Tonight
doctors.
we go after
these
the
are best
story of the
smokes. These are
woman
the
who
healthy ones. Get
violated
the cool
convention and
slim.
bucked powerful opposition to lead the birth control movement in America. You see her behind me. She is Mrs. Margaret Sanger, who was thrown into jail 8 different times for her efforts. If you're curious to know why Mrs. Sanger has devoted her life to the birth control movement, if you'd like to hear her answer to the charge that birth control is a sin, and if you want to get her views on politics, divorce, and God, we'll go after those stories in just a moment. My guests' opinions
Is
are not
birth
necessarily
control
mine. The
bad
stations
or
are my
good?
sponsors, Philip Morris.
Ethically, not morally.
Ethically, I think it's good. I think it's good both.
I think if there was birth control was never invented, I think people would act way less whorish and more ethical.
No,
Because
there'd
there's
just be way more fucking kids that we couldn't afford.
No, there'd be way more consequences and repercussions, so people would be less likely to be fucking retards.
The state right now incentivizes having more kids, so for welfare, so I feel like that doesn't make
The
sense.
state incentivizes marriage to the government, single motherhood.
True. But I don't think abortion incentivizes it. I mean, birth control incentivizes it. Incentivizes more kids. I think it stops having kids that are not being able to be
Okay.
cared
Oh,
for.
here's one. For abortion, what percentage do you think are rapes versus regrets versus got one past the birth control goalie?
I have no idea.
That's what I'm asking you. What do you think they would be?
I have no idea.
I have no idea either. I'm just curious to what people would think.
Yeah, I don't know.
I would think rape is probably like the lowest percentage. And I would say regret's probably the highest percentage. Ooh, here we go. What do you think of this one? What's higher, the rape abortions or the got one past the goalie abortions?
What does got one past the goalie abortion actually
That your
mean?
birth control failed.
Oh.
Because it's supposed to be 99%
What
effective, right?
what do I think is more frequent? Birth control failure or rape
Right, baby.
pregnancies?
Yeah.
Probably birth control failure.
But it's 99% so you think rape's super low.
Yeah.
I do too. I completely agree with you. But I hate that every pro-abortion person, their number one and most of the time only argument is, do you think she should have to carry a rape baby full term? Well, it's like 0.1% of that shouldn't even be an argument.
Safe and rare, I think is how it started, or something like that.
I think if you get raped and need to have an abortion post-rape, you should have to file the charges and then you get the rape or get the abortion. But if you don't file charges or don't report your rape to the cops, then you don't get the abortion of the rape baby. Because then it's just a regret baby.
Who is that? Is he a short guy? Birth control is not as safe as most people think.
No,
If
I
you
think
were
birth
raped,
control is doing horrible damage to women's bodies
right.
and their emotions and yeah.
Still not banned here says if you were raped, there is plan B. That's a very good point.
Right. That's what I mean. You go to the police department, that's where you get your plan B, you file your rape thing, they throw you a pill.
It's less than 1% of that first thing and that last thing, and 98% regrets, because that's the most salacious argument. It appeals to the feels of the whammons. Probably. Hey, PB, good morning.
Good morning.
All right, let's she's just gonna start this interview now. We're gonna see.
Check these facts. And when you
The thing is that they're so much further down the road now. The only argument they actually have here, or this guy is fighting for, is that the Catholic Church is against birth control. So that's where I'm curious what you think about that. Do you think the church, like, I mean,
I
we can
think
get through this.
condoms are appropriate birth control, but I think the pill and the injections for women, I think, are doing way more damage to women than people are even considering. I think it's the number one cause for women's breast cancer rates.
Mm.
This is just my uneducated opinion on the birth control, but I think it's what's causing the breast cancer, among other cancers. And the bullshit reason, I don't know when you're in school, but like when I was in school, all the girls would ask their parents to get them birth control. Not because we're having sex, mom, but because it'll help me with my acne. So doctors would prescribe it for the acne reasons, not the pregnancy reasons. That way the fathers wouldn't flip out when they caught their daughter with birth control pills, which I think is clearly deception to the parents.
So you're
and to
saying
the girls.
that if girls weren't given birth control, they would not be having sex.
No, not at all. I
Then
think
what's the problem? They're gonna do sex. They might as well be on birth control. If you have to tell your dad it's so you don't get acne, fine, because dad is a little old-fashioned, doesn't understand that you're gonna do sex anyways,
if you're
and
not
that this
mature
isn't a
enough to be able
license to do
no,
it.
if you're not mature enough to be able to talk about sex, you shouldn't be having sex.
Shouldn't be, and the reality that people are is this is a reality talk we're gonna have today. Like, the reality is that these kids are having sex way earlier than they should. So
Right.
should they, since they can't tell dad about it, but they're obviously telling mom about it, if they can't tell dad about it, then they just should get pregnant?
Should you be able to keep that? Like, if you're a parent of a child, like I don't have kids myself, but I'd be really fucking mad that my wife and daughter conspired behind my back to get her on hormones that are gonna fuck her up down the road just so she doesn't get pregnant.
Okay.
No?
I mean, let me think. If
Like I would hope, for me, this is just for me, I would hope that I could teach my daughter well enough to have morals than to take a pill that could possibly give her cancer down the road. I guess that's all I think. But most people don't do that.
okay. And so if she doesn't have morals and she does sex, you just hope that she uses condoms.
Yes. I think that should be the propaganda in schools is like 100% condom use. Like, make fun of guys for being like bitches and not wearing condoms.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
That's where I think they should spend their money, not on getting girls
but
to.
that's making it so that the guy has the
Yes,
onus is on him.
bully
Why
the
can't it
teenage
be
boys,
something that
bully
the
the
girl can
boys.
do? I guess they make female condoms.
They do make female condoms, but I think the society should bully boys into not being fucking retards and wearing a condom.
Yeah, hold on a second. I got to be right back.
Yep, do your thing.
I'm
So what I
going to
think,
hit play on this. Or you want to
okay,
talk to them?
hit play.
Okay.
I think you'll find it's probably the best natural smoke you ever tasted. And now to our story. When Mrs. Margaret Sanger opened the first birth control clinic in the United States back in 1916, birth control was a dirty word. The police threw her into jail as they were to do 7 more times during her crusade.
Good.
A crusade that still faces the reasoning but unalterable opposition of the Roman Catholic Church. That crusade kept Mrs. Sanger away from her children for long periods.
Oh,
It helped to break up her first marriage, and she suffered constant, harrowing social abuse. Mrs. Sanger, in view of all of that, let me ask you this first of all. Why did you do it? I realize that you had an intellectual conviction that birth control was a boon to mankind.
Old school TV
I'm
was
sure
so
that others
good.
have that
Journalists
conviction
would
too.
actually
And so what I'd like to know is this. What
today.
events, what emotions in your life made Margaret Sanger a crusader for birth control?
Well, Mr. Wallace, it's hard to say that any one thing has made one do this or
Why
that.
not be a crusader for condoms?
I think from the very beginning, I came of a large family. My mother died young.
Oh,
11
she was a
children.
jealous bitch.
Made an impression on me as a child. I was a trained nurse, went among the people. I saw women who asked to have some means whereby they wouldn't have to have another pregnancy too early after the last child, last abortion, which many of them had. So there's a number of things that are one after the other that really made you feel you had to do something.
There are some other possible reasons that suggest themselves on reading your biography by Lawrence later. Your mother, as you say, died prematurely after bearing 11 children. She was born a Catholic.
That's not human.
She was born a Catholic, yes.
And
in Ireland.
Your father was a sort of a village atheist who clashed with church authorities. And because of his atheism, his earnings dwindled under community pressure. You and your brothers and sisters were known as...
So he was degenerate and nobody
children
wanted
of
to
the
hire
devil,
anymore. This is the eugenics we could have nuked
Could it
earlier.
be then that in part at least, you were driven emotionally toward the birth control movement because of antagonism toward the church, because that was a way to fight the church?
That's it. Hold her feet to the fire.
No, I don't think I had anything of the kind in mind.
Really? You agree with this faggot?
Look at the size of those ears. That's not a
I don't care if her ears hang all the way to the next room. They're trying to decide that the reason that she did all this is to go against the church.
Yeah, I can tell she's bitter. She's frigid. She just yes, I think that's what she's doing.
No, she's not. She's going to explain that she's not, but the church is the last thing they have. The Catholics are the only ones who fucking want to have more babies. I don't know why. Maybe because the priests want to fuck them, or maybe because... Let me think.
Wait, for Catholics, do you think Catholics are okay with condoms? Or
No.
any blockage is a
No
sin?
birth control. Not even coitus interruptus.
Not even the pullout?
I don't know. I don't know about that one. I'm sure they could do that.
I thought, no, because birth control, you can't even inseminate the egg.
No, they don't believe in birth control. It's against the church. Well, I don't know now. Things have changed now. But this is then, and this is still many years after she began doing what she was doing. You want to keep going?
And I was what I would call a born humanitarian. I don't like to see people suffer. I don't like to see cruelty, even to this day. And in nursing, you see a great deal of cruelty and unnecessary suffering. At that time, there was no opposition as far as the church was concerned, any church. It was mainly the law, the federal law and state laws that one had to think of. The church was not in my mind at all.
Yeah.
The church isn't in her mind at all. She was thinking about state laws and things like that. She wasn't worried about the church coming after her. She was worried about that Comstock Act that we talked about earlier. And that's what she got in trouble for repeatedly. Not like so. Going against the church, like she's saying, it's not even the church doesn't come after her yet. till
Yeah.
later. Yeah, so to say that she did this against the church because the church made it so her daddy couldn't make any money because it's just a
I don't
nice
think she did it.
reach.
I don't think she did it to go against the church. I think she did it because she's just a racist, crazy woman.
Okay, well, find
That's my
proof.
opinion. That's just my opinion.
Well, in going after your motive, then, and I will press you just a little bit more about that and then get to the specifics of this evening. But in your motive, in the movement, is it possible that the movement itself, the feeling of wanting to do
She got Tourette's.
anything that you felt was important, that perhaps that moved you a good deal? Because the fact remains that you led a movement against overwhelming pressures that stemmed back for centuries, and in doing so, according to your autobiography, you even left your first husband. And you wrote this to a friend, Mrs. Sanger. You said, "Where is the man to give me
Someone
what the
married her?
movement gives in joy and interest and freedom?" Now, what was this joy, this freedom that
Yeah.
you craved?
Well, I don't remember that letter, who it was written, but I think that it was not a question of marriage at all. There was a certain satisfaction in doing something that was going to alleviate the sufferings of women in particular, and I was quite a feminist at the time.
There you go.
Mhm.
Yeah, if you wanna be mad at her for something, that's it.
And yes, and I naturally didn't want to
A
see
matter of fact, she wasn't again, I think what she did, like, she birthed a lot of this, and it went extreme,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Same as the Gregor Mendel. He was just fucking around with pea plants and stuff, and people took it to a whole new.
Well, not Mendel, the other guy.
I know who,
Mendel
yeah,
just understood genetics. I forget the other guy's name. Galton. Galton is the one who started with eugenics and trying to dominant and recessive genes. So Galton like started the science of statistics.
Oh.
He was like, "Oh wait, let's do this. Let's look at these. Do these things relate to this?" And there were studies all over. They looked at the organs of every single race to see if any type of um, uh, internal structure had to do with crime. They measured literally everything when they
Yep.
figured
The,
out they could
the
measure
size
shit
of
and
your
see if it mattered.
skull, the
So the
brain
fact that
cans.
we're going through this period in our histories, we just learned about this. We're just trying to figure out if it matters. We don't know if this is like something we're supposed to be doing, something we're not. It turns out probably, who knows? There's literally to this day, those CRISPR babies are like sub 10. They're only maybe 8 years old or some shit. If that, they might even be like 5, but they're genetically engineered.
Right.
With this type of stuff, so
So if you're genetically engineered, does that mean you're better than a normal baby?
no, it means that you have a resistance to something and you don't know what the side effect of that resistance is, and that's why we don't experiment on kids or people,
But
because you don't know
think
what
ahead
the
in the
unintended
future, like 100
consequences.
years.
What?
Think in the future, like 100 years. Are parents going to be like genetic diversity kids or your natural born baby? So you know how like there's like rich kids and poor kids? Are they going to have like genetically modified perfection kids versus the average kids, and they get to separate them in different schools?
I mean, that already kinda happens.
But is it going to happen way worse with genetic modifying your kids?
Well, I don't think I mean,
So like,
first off, I
okay,
don't know
so
if
no,
they
so like,
basically do genetic modifying because there's a thing called epigenetics. Epigenetics means that your environment plays a giant factor almost more so than your actual inherited genes. So when you adopt a kid, you're kind of doing that. You're kind of getting a designer baby. You're like, no, I want a girl. No, I want blue eyes. No, I want a little taller. No, what was his mom like? Okay, let me just figure out all the things, and then we'll bring him into my environment and get the super baby.
right.
I mean, I'm not shitting on adoptive parents. I'm just saying that's kind of a form of eugenics. You're selecting for the one that you would be preferable to you, your situation.
I don't think nature and nurture are the same. I don't think you can take a crack baby and turn it into a doctor, no matter what
Yes,
environment you put
and
it in.
the My Pillow guy was a fucking crack baby, and he did the My Pillows.
Wasn't he a crackhead, not a crack baby?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Nate the lawyer was a crack baby. He's a damn lawyer, allegedly, according to Chris.
Well, how smart a one is he though?
Listen, I'm just saying. I do think there might be other obstacles, and it might even be neurological issues that you have if you're born a crack baby. But I don't think.
I don't think you can ride. I don't think people who have poor genetics, like could ever be above the genetics station.
Yeah,
There are
that's
poor
where
people,
you
like
would
there
have
are
fit
dumb
in great
people,
with
and
them
their
back in
whole
the day.
family lineage is dumb. Like, you know what I mean? Like their great grandparents were dumb, and their whole family, like that whole family is full of dumb people. I don't think you could take a baby out of that dumb family and make it a doctor just by changing its environment.
I do. So back in the day, that it was the 3-generation rule, and that's how they decided if they were going to sterilize you. So there's this one story of this lady who, her mom was an alcoholic. She gets pregnant at a young age. She actually gets raped, and they don't realize it's a rape baby because she doesn't say. The guy threatens her, so she doesn't say. So they find out she's pregnant. She has the baby, but they're like, okay, she's promiscuous. She's African. She's poor. Her mom's an alcoholic. That would make her probably an alcoholic or promiscuous and poor. Now she's had this baby. When she gave birth, they sterilized her because that's the 3rd generation of feeble-mindedness.
Right.
And they're still doing it all up until, I mean, there are stories from the 70s, the 80s, in 2015. They're like, okay, we're going to pay some of you guys back for sterilizing you. But
Yep.
that's fucked because, right? Listen, California was the #1 state for eugenics back in the day.
Yeah, it's the
When
more
Hitler
progressive
was
people who
for
are
it.
more into this stuff.
Well, where are they cutting off more children's reproduction? I guess that's how I should say it. California. Like
Right.
what we're doing, it's no different. It's just a different packaging, but you're making it so that people that have I don't know.
That's what I hate. Well, that's the big thing I hate about all the transgender thing is they call it reproductive health when you're destroying any chance of reproduction.
Yeah.
It's the exact opposite of what you're calling it.
Do you want to keep listening to this?
It'd be like calling the electric chair the chair of life.
The electric chair is just wooden, it turns out. The electricity gets on you. I'm like, oh, damn, the chair don't have shit to do with it. They shouldn't make it wood since the people catch on fire. Imagine the chair catches on fire too.
Right.
Oh, what else are they going to make it out of, I guess?
Make it a water bed. Just lay in bed.
Abortion is not healthcare. That's right.
Right.
I was not. Speaking of your package squabble, what I'm wondering is how he was born. Where did his lack of sex organs come from? And anyway, wait. This all started because people like Hitler couldn't procreate naturally. That's why he's crazy too. He had no balls, no normal peen. What I'm wondering
Hitler
is how he
actually
was
killing
born.
retarded kids was illegal
What?
in Germany until Hitler like retroactively allowed it.
That's no way. Hitler, no sex organs. Is this true or is this something somebody made up
No,
after the
he had a
fact?
girlfriend.
I don't mean he fucked her.
Yes. He was a crackhead, a meth addict, and all those things. But I'm pretty sure he had a penis.
Did Hitler really have a micro penis?
Yeah. From Men's Health. Don't believe anything in Men's Health. It's like CNN.
I believe it. Look at this. It's a penis that looks like Hitler. That's fucking hilarious.
How do you know that's not Charlie Chapman?
I know a peen when I see one. If there was going to be an internet scandal this week about the deformed genitals of a controversial politician, of course it was going to be about Hitler. Okay, maybe not the name we were expecting, but sure, let's go with it. I don't care what the rest of this says. It's true because I don't seen it.
It's not fair that one man ruined a mustache, though.
Ruined it? I'm so glad that's not a thing. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, back to this. This is the thing I couldn't find earlier. This is Aristotle trying to work out hereditary or traits and shit like that. So it's not like it was. They might not have figured it out until that one guy you were telling me about.
People had an idea. They just had no idea what the idea was.
Yeah, that part. This guy, this is the guy who did eugenics. What do you think he was trying to breed out? The slope head or what? The baldness?
Do you think it's okay if your country's trying to make a better sports team?
Yep.
Like Yao Ming?
Oh, yeah. Let me show you that. Okay. Let's look at that. I do think that that's fine. But then again, but it's fucked
because
think
that's fine? Really? So the government forced two people to have a baby?
No.
And make them marry each other?
Well,
yeah. Yao Ming's parents didn't know each other. The government encouraged these two people to have sex and have a baby and get married. And then they forced Yao Ming to play basketball since the day he came out.
And then they took his money, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
maybe
the
that's
money he
battle.
got in the NBA went to China's bank account, and then they divvied him off a little bit.
Bred for the sport, forced into it against his will, and subjected to years of dubious science to increase his height. Whoops. Okay. Bred for the sport.
Like, not only did they force his parents to make him and then raise him, they were actually injecting him with all kinds of growth hormones and everything.
That's interesting. Okay, so as a when you asked me the question, I was thinking already regular humans, like, let's inject them and make them better. But I guess bred for it, and then having a good example is different.
It's like if the
It
government
sucks.
came
If he
by and said,
wanted to play
"Oh,
basketball, it'd
divinity,
be
you're
great.
really
We
attractive.
should
We need more models." And they're gonna marry you off to some other dude or make you have sex with some other dude just to make, you're just become cattle then for the government.
Yeah, I think if it's fine to breed somebody for that, but if they choose not to do it, they shouldn't be forced. You're like, "Oh, damn, you were gonna be perfect, but I guess you're gonna not."
Yeah, but humans aren't like that, right? The same as a vaccine. It's voluntary. It's all voluntary. Don't worry, it's just voluntary. And then we're really suggesting. And in China, they just disappear members of your family until you cooperate.
He didn't even write this book. The Revelations in Operation Yao Ming by former Newsweek journalist Brooke Larmer. How does she know? Larmer said Yao, China's first successful basketball expert and its most famous base worldwide, was the product of a harsh and antiquated program which has changed little since it was set up more than 50 years ago under Mao Zedong.
Yeah, it
Yao
was
on
like
the
a gold medal strategy or something. China wanted to win all the gold medals to show the world that they were the superior race of people.
it says she said, or they said, that Yao's birth had been anticipated for decades by communist officials desperate to boost national pride through sports, who had been tracking his family for 2 generations. I thought you said they just fucking made him do this. It sounds like they
They
would
did.
already
They were
track.
they were tracking the tallest Chinese man and the tallest Chinese woman. And then they forced them to get together.
He describes a system where doctors armed with special growth predicting manuals measured youngsters' bones and pubic hair? Youngsters have pubic hair?
The Chinese are fucked.
To
Yeah,
identify
he
future
was basically a
athletes.
science experiment his whole life.
Well, that's kinda like the sumo wrestlers, yeah.
I don't know about the sumo wrestlers.
I think they're bred for it. It's no accident that there have been generations of players who have continued to get taller. One of the NBA's first scouts was blown away when he went to northern China and saw more than 27-footers. Yao's grandfather, one of Shanghai's tallest men, was discovered too late for basketball, but his son, the 205 Yao, somebody else, soon found himself dragged into sports system, where he was paired off with China's women's captain, who had been a feared Red Guard during the murderous Cultural Revolution. The two were encouraged to marry in a system with undertones of eugenics, the controversial gene pool manipulation espoused by the Nazis and previously trumpeted by Beijing. Oh, I like how they left us out of that. I appreciate that.
Wasn't that nice? It wasn't us. We didn't do it.
Hey, if we're writing history, we gonna write it our way.
That's right. The winners write the history.
It wasn't a national breeding program. It was a desire among Shanghai officials for them to get together. But when Yao was born, everyone in the sports community in Shanghai and nationally knew he was something special. The giant infant, who was just 8 years old when he reached the average Chinese male height of 171 centimeters, was recruited for basketball despite his parents' objections and his own hatred for the sport. Even when his parents resisted at first to put him in the same system that had caused them some suffering and bitterness, there was not a lot of choice. He hated the game for a decade. He didn't like it. He wasn't any good at it. The 8-year-old Yao embarked on a program of intense repetitive training under disciplinarian coaches who offered little encouragement or variety. Meanwhile, scientists fed him a steady stream of mysterious concoctions designed to make him taller. raised the specter of possible hormone treatment at a time when China was suffering a series of doping scandals. In Yao's case, I don't have any proof, but in that time period of the time in 1990s, they were using all kinds of experimental stuff to enhance players' stamina and strength.
Yes.
I don't have any proof, then shut the fuck up.
No, yes, you do. Remember the Russian doping? So Russia just had like 50 or 100 people banned from the Olympics because the Russian government was doing the whole doping thing with their own country and their own officials to subvert the World Doping Agency. You didn't see that whole big story? That's why Russia was kicked out of the Olympics.
Either way, she's saying here, in Yao's case, I don't have any proof. I don't care about the Russians. In Yao's case, there's no proof.
No, Yao talks about it.
Well, then she should have talked to him further because he didn't give her no proof.
Because I watched an interview with Shaq, and Shaq said he used to hate Yao Ming until he sat down and talked to him about his growing up, and now he's like has the utmost sympathy and pity and like love for Yao because he found out what really happened to him growing up, and he used to hate him.
Well, I think that's probably normal sports.
Like, could you imagine the American government came by and said, "Your son's really tall. We're going to take him and we're going to marry him up to this girl from Alaska."
Yeah, I mean,
and they're going to play squash because that's what we want.
Well, that wouldn't happen. What? How come I can't click on some of these? Why are they here? Who the fuck erased this middle history? Like, look, I can click on these ones.
They're probably racist, so they had to get rid of them.
I need a Brave browser. What's this? Oh.
No, Brave's not working on the ad block
Code of
anymore.
Eugenics. Oh, this one. Let me show you this PDF.
I'm so upset too.
Okay, let me scroll to the beginning of this. This is really hard to read. I apologize. Don't hate me for this, chat. I'm going to read it to you. I'm not actually going to read the whole thing to you. We're going to look at it cursory. This is a preliminary report of the Committee of the Eugenics section of the American Breeders Association to study and to report on the best practical means for cutting off the defective germplasm in the human population.
Germplasm.
Yes. So the eugenics section, there are different sections here. This one says here, the eugenics section has now 10 research committees, each comprised of eminent specialists as follows. Here are the committees: feeble-mindedness, insanity, epilepsy, criminality, deaf mutism, eye defects, immigration, sterilization and other means of eliminating defective germplasm, genealogy, and inheritance of mental traits.
Okay,
so those are
what if there was a virus on Earth and there was say 100 space shuttles to Mars where we had to repopulate because this virus was unstoppable, and they had to let people on the plane? Do you get to do eugenics to have the most perfect new population to start off with? Or do you have to take a bunch of retards with you?
Well, like I think naturally we do eugenics. Because like I mean, right? Like
it's hard. It's so hard. Like your heart says you got to take the retards, but your brain's like, no, we don't need retards. We need some engineers on Mars.
Well,
it's such a hard, like, ethical thing to deal. Because ethically, you want to do the best thing for your new population, and that is not bringing 20 retards with you.
Darth Idiot said, Elon's not taking you to Mars, Nova. Fuck off.
So I'm voting for the retards.
Yeah, you can't go still.
I can sweep all day long. That Martian dust is thick. Hey, I get the DNA of a power lifter. I can prove it.
You have the DNA of a powerlifter? Is that true?
Yeah, I got my.
Do they say that? They say your career field should be this?
Yeah. I have
Fuck off. That's cool. Okay, let me scroll through. There's only a few pages here. In recent years, society has become aroused to the fact that the number of individuals within its defective classes has rapidly increased, both absolutely and in proportion to the entire population. That, I don't know what that word is. Something's growing yearly. That seen No, that some normal strains are becoming contaminated with antisocial and defective traits, and that the shame, the moral
Can't have babies.
retardation, and the economic burden of the presence of such individuals are more keenly felt than ever before. Within the last 3 years, there there has been a marked development in public interest in this matter. The word eugenics has for the first time become known to thousands of intelligent people who now seek to understand its full significance and application. Whether wholly of defective inheritance or mostly of good inheritance, but suffering from an insurmountable hereditary handicap, members of the following classes must be considered as socially unfit, and their supply should, if possible, be eliminated from the human stock. 1. The feeble-minded. 2. The pauper class. 3. The criminal class. 4. The epileptics. 5. The insane. 6. The constitutionally weak or the asthmatic. What? I can't say
Get rid of
that.
the asthmatic.
I can't read this word. I don't think that says asthmatic, though. I'm sorry if you got breathing problems. I didn't mean to scare you right now. These predisposed to specific diseases or of the
Would it be ethical if you could say everyone who's predisposed to diabetes is not allowed to have a baby, and then you completely cure the planet Earth of diabetes? It would
No,
only
you
hurt.
don't. You can
Yeah.
get that. The first guy got it without someone else having it first.
No, I'm just saying hypothetically, if you could,
Hmm.
and then just for 2 generations of humans, people with diabetes weren't allowed to breed. So then that trait would disappear from planet Earth. Would it be
Nah.
ethical to not let,
Do
say,
you
10
think?
million people breed?
I think that's unethical.
But it would cure it forever in the entire
But you could
population.
live with it and manage it, and science has done other shit, so you don't have to actually just not have offspring.
I think it's billions and
The
billions of
benefit
dollars
to
in
having a
healthcare a year.
family outweighs probably the inconvenience of figuring out how to have a diabetic child.
But think that's billions and billions of dollars a year for diabetes medication and treatment that could go to curing AIDS or ending homelessness.
Nah. Same answer. Hey,
Okay, I'm just
Charlemagne,
checking.
good to see you.
Good morning.
Asthenic. Asthenic, adjective relating to or exhibiting asthenia, weak, having a slender, lightly muscled physique. Oh no, that's me.
Soy boys.
I was
Soy
hoping it
boys.
was diabetics, or what is the other word I was trying to say? Anything
Soy
but skinny
boys.
people like me. Little fellows. Homelessness is not a thing. Okay, back to this. Criminal, the epileptics, the insane, the weak, those predisposed of specific diseases, the deformed, and those having defective sense organs, as the blind or the deaf, or the cachisthetic class. Cachisthetic, Kaikaisthetic.
I don't know what that. I haven't seen that before.
There's this word might mean like cachisthetic. Actually, I don't know. I would have said feeble-minded, but that's number 1. Okay, so those are the classes, the same thing. With the statistics at present available, it is impossible to give an accurate table of the numbers within each of these classes. The following table gives an enumeration of defective and helpless individuals within institutions that has been compiled by our committee from the various special reports in the United States. So I'm just going to skip actually through this. I want to show you, among other remedies, the following have been proposed as means for promoting or affecting the desired ends, to rid the germ something. Number 1, life segregation or segregation during the reproductive period. So, remove them from society. 2, sterilization, which we did. 3, restrictive marriage laws and customs, like the Jews. 4, genetic education of the public and of prospective marriage mates, which is eugenic education is what this is, which is exactly what we should have done. We should educate people on when you can get pregnant, how you can get pregnant, how, all
Here's
of
a
that.
question. If you did, do you think the government should be able to say that you have to get tested before you have a baby?
Yeah. Well.
And then if you get tested and it says that you have a 75% chance to have a special needs kid, that the government won't let you have one?
I don't think the government should do that, but I think it should be more readily like, it should be like, you could take a pregnancy test and then take a genetic deficiency test or whatever, like, the fact that people know where their great-great-great-great-grandparents come from, but don't know their blood type is weird to
Yes.
me.
What about gender selective abortions? Because
Like the Chinese?
there are certain races and cultures that would just abort one gender over another because one gender is valued more. Would that be okay?
No, I don't think especially mandated by the government, I don't think it's ever okay. But personally, if you're like, "Okay, it's just me and my wire hangers, and I feel like this is a boy," like, well, that's why we should have birth control. Okay, back to this. Systems of mating purported to remove defective traits. Oh, these are different remedies, by the way. General environmental betterment, polygamy. Polygamy? Does that mean polygamy? Polygamy.
Oh, maybe that means that you can be married to your husband, but we're going to bring in a big man stud with good DNA to impregnate you.
Whoa.
And you stay
Really?
together with your husband. Maybe. I'm guessing. Because why would you marry two husbands or two? That doesn't make sense.
Polygamy.
Unless he is deemed of such good sperm and
Many
DNA that he
spouses.
should have many wives.
It's many spouses, yeah. And then
JF.
8 is
He's a
euthanasia.
JF. That's what JF wants to do.
Euthanasia is the bad one on the list. They stuck it way down here at the bottom. Hopefully you wouldn't get this far. Malthusian doctrine, artificial interference to prevent conception. Okay, so that's like condoms. And laissez-faire. Laissez-faire. What does that mean?
What is I know that name, laissez. Isn't that just nonchalant or something? Laissez-faire. I've heard that a lot.
Laissez-faire. I'm gonna have to Google this up.
Yeah,
you should know this already. Sounds like it's from where you're from.
It is French.
Laissez-faire definition.
That's so laissez-faire. I think that's
policy or attitude of letting things take their own course without interfering.
Yeah, just whatever. Just let it. Just whatever. It's in the way.
So that's how could that be I guess it has to be a solution. Do nothing is laissez-faire.
Yeah.
Oh, laissez-faire. Oh, I like that. That's got a cool name to it. Okay. So life segregation, sterilization, restrict marriage laws, education on how this shit works, systems of mating purported to remove defective traits. I don't understand that. General environmental betterment, polygamy, euthanasia, neo-Malthusian doctrine, and laissez-faire. Which of these remedies shall be applied? Shall one, two, several, or all be made to operate? What are the limitations and possibilities of each remedy? Shall one class of the socially unfit be treated with one remedy and another with a different one? Shall
polygamy would be for the people in government. People in power would get to have all the wives, and the poor people would get euthanasia. Because if we just kill all the poor people, then everyone who's born will just have that rich brain power.
I have to let my dog in. I'm just now hearing him bark, so I'll be right back.
Oh, yep, do.
This, can you read this? Let me see.
Yeah.
It's up on the screen. Let me make it smaller. Maybe you'll be able to read it. This is... Well, you'll read it.
About the Aryans. An Aryan paragraph was the clause in the statutes of an organization, corporation, or real estate deed in the reserve membership of right of what the Aryan race, and excluded from such rights as any non-Aryans, particularly those Jewish and Slavic descendants. Why Slavic? I don't know about that one. They were an omnipresent aspect of public life in Germany and Austria. One of the first documented examples of such a paragraph was written in the Austrian nationalist leader and anti-Semite Georgy von Schroeder in his nationalistic Linz program of 1882, and countless German national sports clubs, societies, school clubs, harvest circles. We got to start those back up. The old harvest circles. Fraternity followed suit.
Yes. That's so this is, what was I also see? Okay, this is the shortest one. So they put this was like them trying. This was part of master race. So when somebody says that he wanted the master Aryan race,
Yes.
that's what it means.
So just anyone that's not Jewish or Slavic.
Right. So
Does that include blacks? No, because they're not Jewish or Slavish.
they're kind of.
Oh, maybe they weren't even considered human, so they didn't even come close to counting in the contest. Because the Japanese thought they were the superior world race too, right? So did the Chinese. Like,
I don't know. Let's look at this. This says sterilization map. Is this the same thing? States that allow for sterilization. Forced sterilization is allowed in the dark purple ones. It's forced in these two green ones, and it's not clear if forced sterilization are.
How can it be not clear? It either is or it isn't.
It is not clear if it is allowed in Puerto Rico, Guam, or the Virgin Islands, so they just don't know who to ask.
But it says Texas is not clear. How is it not?
Oh.
It's either is or isn't it?
It's unclear or allowed. Well, there's a lot more than I thought when I looked up. I don't know. This is the 1935 map. Can you see this?
Yeah, we're good.
So this one says laws in effect with surgical sterilization are the lines. Black estates with bills pending, and that's it. I don't know.
I wonder if they told these women about their forced sterilizations, or they're like, "We're just going to give you a pap smear and you're on your way," and they left sterilized.
Yeah, that's the problem. They didn't tell a lot of them about it. There's a whole.
Here's the question: would you, if it was going to be forced and it was going to happen whether you wanted it to or not, would you want to know, or would you want to live your whole life like I just never got one?
Would you want to know? I probably would rather just not know.
Yeah, that's what I think too. So that's probably how they justified it in their minds, going, it's probably better for them not to know, so we're just gonna not tell them.
What if you think you're defective because you want children and you think I couldn't do this, I am not, when it turns out it wasn't your fault and you were sterilized, that might make you actually feel better.
Yeah, that's true, because that does happen to a lot of women.
I don't know. This is 1983. 10 Mexican women filed a claim under 24 U.S.C. against multiple physicians. The complaint alleged that the women were sterilized without their voluntary and informed consent as part of a concerted plan to prevent women in low socioeconomic groups from creating large families. Among the group of women was Dolores Madrigal, who did not speak English and had consented to the sterilization procedure performed by Dr. Rutland after she was told while in labor that any subsequent pregnancies could result in her death.
I remember this
Maria Hurtado, who had a 6th grade education and denied requesting the sterilization procedure performed by Dr. Newman, although she had signed informed consent forms while in labor. Joe Vita Rivera.
Can you consent to stuff when you're in labor? Really, though? Legally?
Who did? Yeah, especially how about you don't speak English and they're like, here, sign these
here,
forms
like, yes, take my baby. Like, yeah, that's crazy.
Not speak English, orally consented to this procedure due to an emergency situation while in labor that prevented the physician from obtaining written consent. Maria Figueroa, whose husband gave written consent for the sterilization procedure performed by Dr. Keitzer, because Maria was already in surgery when the physician discovered uterine conditions that could result in uterine rupture. Helena so-and-so, who gave written consent to the procedure performed by Dr. Yi after she was told that any future pregnancies could result in her serious death. Oh man, I didn't find a good one. But these women ended up being compensated, I'm pretty sure. There are more women. These women here, these were the 2 black girls that got sterilized in the 70s. I think this was the 70s, 1974. This is when Nixon was in office, right?
Yes.
And the government said, the reason that they didn't, so the reason these girls were, there were sterilization guidelines put out, like must be 18, informed consent, all that shit. They didn't distribute the information. I don't know why, but it sounds like because the government Well, they say it was because the program was their needs were being met because it was sterilizing these Black communities. So that's just the government being racist as fuck. But
What do
this
you
is
think? What
these
do
are
you
the
think if
girls.
the government tracked inmates and say they tracked one DNA, like the father was a rapist, the son was a rapist, the third, like the grandson, like 5 generations all turned out to be rapists. Could the government intervene to stop that?
They know. You imagine like you're in trouble for pre-crime because your grandpa did some shit. Fuck
Right.
out of
Oh,
here,
right. Yeah, I'm just
government.
asking the question. So now that you know that 5 generations are in and the government has the data and they can see that we're predicting with, say, making up the number, 99% certainty that this person is going to rape a woman in his lifetime, and that woman gets raped by him, can she sue the government for not acting knowing that he was going to do it?
I'm sure they could.
So it's a lose-lose situation.
Well, that's not a real situation, but
Could be.
it's not real. So
You know they're tracking every inmate's DNA now.
they've been.
Right. That's what I mean. So now they can predict those patterns. So if like,
Those were the
oh,
first people they sterilized were criminals, but they've already figured out that it has less to do with hereditary traits than it has to do with anything else, that those things aren't predictors of it's
see, I completely disagree. I think heredity means more than your environment. I'm on the other
well,
side of
it's
the
environment plus.
See, I think
Heredity
heredity is way
or
more powerful than people give it credit for.
heredity has a much more tons of power. What's not given credit is the environment.
I don't think environment
Being a
can
factor.
overcome heredity, I guess.
It absolutely can. They've been proven it in twins.
Sometimes
No,
not.
they've
Though.
proven
It's
it in
also been not
twins.
proven.
Something's been proven and then not proven? Come on.
Well, just because it's been proven in one set of twins doesn't mean it's proven in 10 sets of twins. I broke her chat.
I mean, I can't prove it.
I broke her.
For Christ's sake. That's ridiculous. Okay, so if you don't believe in epigenetics, that's fine, but our environments play a giant role in the way that we develop. You know, it's funny, that first guy, I want to call him Mendel, but that's not it. I always keep forgetting his name now. Galton. He coined the phrase nature and nature versus nurture.
Yes.
They knew back in the 1900s, early 1900s, that nurture and nature both mattered.
I think one is more powerful than the other. I think your nature, what you're born with versus what you learn.
Like, you might not be able to be taller, sure.
No, I think even things like anger problems or like schizophrenia in your family, stuff like that. Like fibromyalgia for me, genetic. No matter where I was raised, I was going to get it.
Okay. I mean, I don't know how that works, but you probably, I mean, I'm going to argue. If that's how it works, then that's how it works. I'm not arguing about the science. I'm just saying this is proven. Like that your environment absolutely matters, whether you want to believe it or not.
I know, I believe it. I believe it matters, but I think your nature is more powerful. Your DNA is more powerful than where you're born and brought up. That's what I think.
That's fair.
Like, I don't think parents, like, you know how there's clumsy people who couldn't dribble basketball if you train them for like a month. I think if you had 2 of those parents, I don't think you could teach their kid to be an NBA player with all the coaching in the world, even if they were tall.
I do. I think 2 ugly people can have a beautiful kid. I think like that I feel like is an easy.
That's the lottery.
I mean, not being clumsy and having a child who is capable or maybe even ambidextrous.
No, I think your genetics. You're born an athletic person or you're not. Like, I think you know how to get those little effeminate men who are like, oh my God, and they just walk that way. You can tell. I don't think you could ever train those people to not be effeminate. Even if they went through like Navy SEAL training and stuff, they're still going to be effeminate.
Okay, but I don't think if. Do you think that like being more feminine is something that should be that should be worked out?
For society as a whole, hell yes. That's why we have what we have today.
Because of effeminate men?
Too many safety rules and too many protections for dumb, weak people. Like seatbelts.
Yeah, I hate the seatbelt one.
See, all the dumb people that would crash for doing dumb shit would all die off. We'd have smarter drivers everywhere in a few generations.
No, they would just get replaced by more dumb people.
Not if they can't keep breeding.
Now it turns out even smart people have dumbass kids. That's the thing.
No, eugenics says
Yeah.
eventually it
Eugenics has been
That's why
proven.
Jewish people are smarter than white people.
What?
Jewish people are smarter on the bell curve for IQ than white people.
Because they don't
genetically breed for
let
more
their-
intelligence, not muscle strength.
Shai still here? Tell me that's true.
Yeah, that's why Jews aren't like big, muscular NBA players or football players. They're like doctors and lawyers because they genetically breed to be smarter doctors and lawyers. And then you go to Samoa with those countries and Fiji and stuff, and those guys are breeding for size.
Beautifully said. Eugenics is Noah's religion. Hold on, I needed what you just said. Some shit I wanted to Google. I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah, Jews breed for intelligence.
Yes, I think it's the Ashkenazi Jews have the highest IQ in the world.
Okay, Jewish gene for intelligence, genetic intelligence. The secret of Jew genius. New York Times isn't going to let me read this. I haven't picked one yet.
Yeah, Jews. I think it's the Ashkenazi Jews have the highest IQ in the world.
I don't know who the fuck Slate is, but we're going here. 2007. Are Jews a race? Is Jewish intelligence genetic? If these
Are Jews a race is the first question.
You're not alone. Many non-Jews find them offensive. Actually, scratch that. I have no idea what other non-Jews find. Whether non-Jews find them offensive, but I imagine that they do, which is why Jews like me wince at any suggestion of Jewish genetic superiority. We don't even want to talk about it. Wait, what?
This is a far leftist paper, by the way. This is a far leftist company like CNN.
For fuck's sake. Okay. Let me go back here. Oh, I did it. I didn't mean to do that.
Look up who the smartest people in the world. What groups are the most intelligent?
It's not going to have anything to do with Canada.
At the bottom of the list, so you'll be happy about it.
We need to talk about the problem of birth control making our women decide not to have children, so we don't have replacement population rates, and so that's the big ass goal.
That was feminism. They're like,
yeah,
don't have babies. Go work. Go slave your entire life. Make the government more money. Don't have babies.
35 people with the highest IQs in the world. Oh, look, it's a. You can't see this. Present. It's a smart baby. You could tell because it's wearing glasses. Damn, this kid needs some CRT training immediately. Enlighten yourself with this list of smart people. I wonder if they're going to tell us where they're from. Highest IQs in the world. Johann Goethe. Dude, that plane just went by low.
I heard that.
Yeah. German polymath who lived in the 1800s and his IQ. Okay, German. Smartest. What's next?
No, they're just picking out individuals. I want to know like groups of people, like the highest race or highest cultural group.
Smartest people. Smartest ethnicity.
Yes, there we go. That's a good word. Yeah, you got it. It's hard to pick the right word.
Race and intelligence.
A red flag list.
We're going to Wiki. Discussions of race and intelligence, specifically claims of differences in intelligence and linguistic lines, have appeared in both popular science and academic research since the modern concept of race was first introduced. With the inception of IQ testing in the early 20th century, differences in average test performance between racial groups were observed, though these differences have fluctuated in many cases, steadily decreased over time. Complicating the issue, modern science has shown race to be a socially constructive phenomenon rather than a biological reality, and there are various conflicting definitions of intelligence. In particular, the validity of IQ testing as a metric for human intelligence is disputed. Today, the scientific consensus is that genetics does not explain differences in IQ test performance between groups, and that observed differences are environmental in origin. Wow,
That's not the question.
that
That
couldn't
wasn't
have
the
gone better
question.
for me.
That wasn't the question.
Yes, it was.
The question was, which groups are smarter? Who was smarter?
The answer is you can't tell by group because the environmental plays
can.
enough of a role that the genetics don't fucking matter. That's gonna take a while for your cognitive dissonance to really let set in.
The question is, who are the
You're gonna have
smartest
to feed
people?
this negative
What
information to your
culture?
feedback loop.
Type in what culture has the highest IQ.
Okay, let's try that.
Try that.
Okay. What culture?
See, I put the
has-
Chinese up there. I'd put the Japanese up there.
Yeah, well, you need some training. Ooh, there it is.
Russians used to be
Japanese.
pretty
According
smart
to a
people.
2019 study, researchers Richard Lin and David Becker, somewhere the highest IQ average scores in the world belong to the Japanese.
All right, click that. Click that link. See, that's
Countries
what I
by
guessed. I
IQ.
would have guessed the Japanese, the Chinese are up on the top of the list, but I heard, or whatever I thought, with the Ashkenazi Jews had the highest IQs.
Where are they? Are they in here somewhere?
They'd probably be in Israel, yes.
I don't know where that is.
You don't know where Israel is?
I can't fucking find it on a map. I'm not that great
In the
at
Middle
it.
East. Or a little picture of Gaza.
Well, I can't zoom in. So it's like right here somewhere?
Yes. Doesn't it give you a list, like to scroll down? Or no?
Well,
Right there. Whoa, yeah, right there. Taiwan, Singapore, Hong Kong, China. So that's just given each country. Okay. So the top 10, maybe 3 of them are white. So is that racist? Is that list racist because none of them are from Africa? Oh, look, Canada landing in the middle there somewhere.
The smartest country is based on student test scores in reading, math, and science in 2018.
That's gone way down since then.
Highest intelligence.
You're number 1. Where are you at?
Highest intelligence capital index.
There you go. Number 1, A+.
We must have wrote this study. Who designed the IQ test? Funny, most people don't, and they're all protesting. There are 10 countries with the highest IQ. Okay, so that's... Oh, look, we can scroll down to see where shit lands. US, 97.4. It's like our temperature.
Greenland, smarter?
Average IQ, though. I don't know about smart. IQ is your capacity to learn. That doesn't mean anyone reaches this shit. Matter of fact, most of these people probably don't fucking reach their IQ.
Japanese are up in the hundreds.
As a matter, it was them who did this study.
Favor education over muscles and stuff, and good looks.
They're also have their birth rate in the shitter, right? Is that
their
Japan?
country's declining to the point where
who cares how smart they are? They're not
really
smart enough to keep their
unpopulated in Japan.
species alive, retards.
And Japan doesn't let like foreigners buy land or like get citizenship there too, so that's not helping their cause.
I think immigration has a lot to do with when they were studying eugenics. Come in, dog.
Yeah, because we used to ban countries that had poor DNA.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how it worked, but yeah.
Like, say, I'm just making this up, but say there was like a country in Africa that the average population had like a 50 IQ. You wouldn't let them immigrate to your country because it's probably going to be no benefit to your country, which is what Japan says. No one ever calls Japan racist, which is amazing. And they have like some of the most racist laws.
Tells me how racist they are all the time.
Right. But white people, like, I don't know, no one ever would like protest Japan for being a racist country, but they protest Canada and America for being racist countries.
Because of our... Well, wait, what did they say about you? It's our history of slavery that fucks us.
Oh, it's the same thing. It's the white colonial oppressors who, enslaved the First Nations people and blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah.
We did that too.
So
We
they started
sterilized
removing...
so many Native Americans. It's fucked.
Well, when Black Lives Matter was in Canada, they were bitching about how racist Canada was. And like, we were the home for the Underground Railroad. Like, this is where all the black people came escaping America. So how are we racist back then? No one reads history. It's retarded.
I don't know.
Same as that's why they're changing all the places around here in the streets in Canada to get rid of the old racist colonial names and replace them with new woke names.
Dorothy D said, Japanese people don't give a fuck. That's why nobody protests. PB said, Japan has almost entirely its own kind. It's homogenous.
Yeah,
Every
Japan,
country on the planet has a history of slavery. Yeah.
there is more slavery today on planet Earth than there has ever been in the history of planet Earth.
Is that true? Is that because there's more people to be slaves?
Yep.
Oh.
Like, Libya is an open slave market.
Yeah.
Like, sex traffic are that's slavery. People don't realize that sex traffic is slavery. Those
Right.
girls aren't just doing it for fun.
Well, it might be fun, but they don't get to keep their money. That makes it slavery.
Right. And they can't leave. They can't escape. They can't, you try and run from your pimp, you're going to get beat or murdered or worse.
So do you remember the Eliza Blue thing?
Yes.
Did you think that she was trafficked or no?
I think she was a mental patient and couldn't believe anything she said, but I don't think she was trafficked, listening to the stories she was putting out there. I think a person who was actually sex trafficked and actually broken down wouldn't hide her stories. They would tell her stories to show everyone how graphic and real it is. Whereas Eliza was like, I'm not even going to talk about it, because she didn't want to get caught in a lie.
She did talk about it.
No, I don't think she was given a whole lot of details. I think she was pretty vague on.
She gave she gave everything from age and place. I don't know what do you feel like she left out?
I don't know. Thinking back, watching the whole thing, all I remember is I don't believe a word this girl's saying.
Yeah, everyone on our side told you to think that way. So it's a kind of a litmus test. If you did any research on your own, you might have thought differently about her.
Maybe.
A litmus? I might have said that wrong. But she was groomed as a young child and trafficked and sold repeatedly. Didn't get to keep any of her money. And by standards, you would say that she was sex trafficked. But people like, she's a prostitute. She was willing. So she was grown. It doesn't happen to her. It's like, well, okay.
Right. I wasn't highly following it either. It was just what was going on at the time.
Dude, okay, so I looked up gender affirming care yesterday to find out who was the godfather of gender reassignment
that
surgery or
phrase,
sex
yes.
changes. And it's this guy called John Money. What the fuck, Money?
Out of Yale. That's the most corrupt Ivy League school there is.
I don't know if he went to Yale. This is just where this is from. But the guy who was performing those surgeries originally, he's so disgusting. He ends up, okay, so there's this little boy who gets a botched
Vaginoplasty?
What do you call it? Circumcision.
Oh.
They basically castrate him.
How do you fuck
or
that?
cut his penis off.
How do you? That
Well,
seems
it's
like
little, and maybe he moved. I don't know. Either way, the doctor, John Money, convinced the parents that the best thing to do would be to make him a girl. So he chopped his balls off.
He didn't just botch it. He fucked it up so bad he had to destroy this kid's penis.
Yeah, and he also abused him. So the kid, they end up calling him Brenda, but he could never, no matter what, he never felt like a girl. The kids called him the cave woman because he walked like a boy. He wanted to play sports. So when he was 14, his parents finally told him that he was actually born a boy.
Yeah,
and
they forced transed him, and when it wouldn't take, they had to.
Yeah, him and his brother both offlined themselves before they were 40. But this doctor didn't tell anybody about the shitty results from all of these surgeries. Like so they
Only tell
kept
you the good ones.
using the standard of these were it wasn't a good one. He just told them it was successful. They didn't tell him any of the shit that was happening about their depression and about how it didn't take and about how they couldn't, no matter how much hormone they gave the kid, he couldn't, or actually the parents might have.
Oh yeah, sewing the cut back up was successful, but not the kid's mental stability or life or.
Yeah, but we're doing that now. We're like, it's the
Oh yeah,
modern
yep.
way to sterilize people. And you hear a lot of people on the right being like, good, at least they won't be able to procreate. It's like, well, fuck. Like, that's actually not, maybe they're so
I'm at that
mentally.
point now. I'm basically at that
Obviously.
point. Fuck it, let them all do it to let them neutralize themselves out of existence.
Yeah, but you're the maybe, but kids,
I don't think it's
like,
right.
they
I
could
think it's wrong, but
overcome their
it's so
parents' virtue
frustrating, right?
signaling and making them use their bodies for their timelines and social.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, I agree.
I feel like, so the law, or
It's Munchausen by proxy, I think.
I thought the law was that you had to be 18 in order to be sterilized in our country. But it feels like if you can get gender affirming care at 14 or 12 or prepubescent when it works the best, then you're literally doing the same thing. These kids don't have the capacity. This is not informed consent.
No, they're
None of that.
creating customers for life.
Oh man,
Those kids are going to be a
awful.
customer to Big Pharma for the rest of their entire lives, whether they want to or not.
It turns out, though,
to fund it. And the best part is the government's going to fund it. So no one's losing here but the government, the taxpayers. Don't worry about the human repercussions. Big Pharma gets paid, the government pays it. Win, win, win.
Yeah.
The government's here to help all these transgender people. Well, the government's to help you run.
When was this year? What year was this? 2022. So this is last year. It says on May 8th at midnight, the new Alabama law went into effect. For the first time in U.S. history, state law levies felony charges on the provision of gender-affirming care. In the weeks preceding May 8th, healthcare providers worked 14-hour days in order to ensure that their patients had a 1-year supply of necessary medications. Healthcare instructions sent somber emails to their workforce reminding them of the legislation, but staunchly opposed its content. In February 2022, the Attorney General of Texas, Ken Paxton, issued a legal opinion concluding that gender-affirming care in minors constitutes forced sterilization and therefore child abuse.
Good for him.
And now you want to know why they fucking tried to get him out of his job.
Right.
Ken Paxton is that one that had that giant, all those lawyers, a giant lawyer war.
Yeah.
Texas, yeah.
So
that was like just a month
here's
ago.
what they always say is that they have to be able to get the surgery because they aren't who they really want to be unless we cut their penis off. But then if you cut their penis off, they still don't feel like who they thought they were. So it doesn't fix anything.
It's dysphoria. So they're just on it. They have it.
Yeah. No matter what you do to that person's body, they're never going to feel right.
This says gender dysphoria affects almost 2% of American teenagers, and trans and non-binary youth who do not receive gender-affirming care face a 40% lifetime risk of suicide attempt. I thought, based on Crowder, so who knows how great that information is, but I thought that the suicide rates didn't improve the more gender-affirming care was happening. So that this is kind of a
right. They don't.
Surprise
it doesn't
to see
change.
here.
It doesn't benefit. It doesn't. It does. It's almost. I think it's higher after. Because the complications are so bad.
Do not regret. The vast majority of those who receive gender-affirming care do not regret transition in adulthood.
How come all the famous people have come out and said they regretted it now? That Chloe girl.
Maybe vast majority is how they're able to say that.
She said she regretted it. Like, how come all these people are regretting it?
But like, because this is vast majority, like the vast majority we'll never hear from, so we could say that.
Say whatever you want, right? But the ones that they celebrated the most, who had the most support, the most money, the most financial backing, regretted it. So what do you think the average poor transitioning person's doing? Have you ever seen one of those
orange, yellow,
reverse
green,
penis
blue,
insertions surgeries? It's the most disgusting thing you've ever seen.
So when you do that, are you actually so like if a woman has the penisectomy or whatever, if the woman has the dick sewn on, is she still able to like like her reproductive system still works. If she wanted to, she could pull eggs out and like get them petri dished or whatever, and vice versa.
I don't know if that. I'm assuming they would just give you a hysterectomy.
Yeah, I'm curious because I wonder if there's a way to do it that doesn't sterilize you. But if you're
Well, like,
changing hormones in a teenager,
and
feels like
you're never going to have an orgasm again.
is it? Yeah, that sucks.
They don't tell them that either. That when we mutilate this organ, all your nerve endings are dead, so you're never going to have an orgasm ever again.
No, I think they don't. I don't think they expected that part of it.
They don't. No, they don't tell them the bad parts. They tell them,
So the doctors
"Oh,
don't.
after this is done, you'll feel great. It'll be good."
Yeah, I don't think it's just.
It's like the lie parents tell their kids when they're going to the dentist for the first time. It's not going to hurt. It'll be fine. You'll enjoy it. Don't even worry about it. Then they're all traumatized because they didn't get enough freeze, or the needle hurt when they got the freeze, right?
Puberty blocker seems like, is that the thing that's going to mess up your?
That sterilizes them permanently, yes. And that's the big lie, is that, oh, it's completely reversible. No, it's not. The puberty blockers are not reversible.
The hell is
Cutting your
this?
penis off is not a reversible operation. You can't just re-put it back. Same as a girl's breast tissue. Once it's cut out, you can't re-put breasts in.
Do you know what
That's the
cisgender
thing.
means?
It's a derogatory term.
No. I
It's
just
the
Googled it.
N-word for straight people.
No, it means you identify with what you look like. Like you identify with your assignment.
No, I consider it a derogatory term, and it should be banned from English.
Oh, does that hurt your fifis?
Yes, that's my N-word.
I got a funny joke. So my son the other day, he was all wandering around the house, and he's like, "What the heck? WTF? What the heck?" And I'm like, "Actually, buddy, it's WTH for what the heck." He goes, "No, I'm thinking of the F." And I was like, well, you're not saying it. He's only saying hell, but I'm kind of like, I know what you're thinking,
Yeah,
so I'm not sure
he's
if I should
testing
be
the
mad at
edges of
him.
the water.
How many of these letters am I supposed to be mad at? Am I mad at the just imaginary F? I know the N word I'm
Right.
not allowed to fuck with, but
It
like,
was fun. Yeah, because if you get mad, it was fudge.
it's just funny because he's going, "What the heck? WTF?" And I'm like, no, it's what the heck starts with H. He's like, "Yeah, but I'm thinking of the bad word." Okay. I asked him later, I'm like, "Do you know what that means?" He was like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Can you say it?" He's like, "Are you going to force me?" I'm like, "No, not at all. You don't have to say it." He doesn't want to say it. He just, it's just appropriate for what he wants to communicate at
How
that
he's
moment.
feeling. Yeah,
feel
that's
you.
exactly. I know this is where it applies. Let me use it.
I want to show you this. This is Galton, the epigenetics guy. This is his method of cutting a cake so that it does not go stale. On day 1, left, cut along the dotted lines. Consume
Ooh.
central portion. Push remainder together so that no air reaches the cut surface. To give center... Wait. To give...
Yes. Yeah, I get his logic. Makes perfect sense. I like it.
To get the center diagram. Okay. Day 2, consume horizontal portions and push remaining sections together. Boom, boom. Push it together again. And then day 3.
Genius.
Yeah, I feel like this thing,
This
if
needs to
this
be
doesn't make
shared.
everyone's life better, yeah.
This should be a meme. You should clip it and just put at the top the proper cake cut, and just change his name to your name.
I'm gonna rewrite history today, y'all. Bless your heart is in genuine.
Yeah, you do your diagonals like the other way. So rotate that 90 degrees, and then it's Divinity's way. That's how copyright works, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Up and down is how he would have done it. I recommend
You're
horizontal.
going that way, yes, first.
Yeah. It doesn't even make any sense to do.
And you bring the top down and the bottom up. He's the opposite. He brings the right in, the left over. So completely different method. Yeah, yours is way better. The modern version.
Modern
2.0. This is 2.0.
The modern version. So this is the guy who made the CRISPR babies. Do you know what CRISPR is?
Yes, it's a technique for the genetically altering of DNA.
Yeah. So he did it. He altered these kids' DNA, fertilized the eggs, and then now they're 2 babies. One of them has like a she's more resistant to.
So these are perfectly healthy, great kids, right?
So far, so good, I think.
How long ago was this? Are they actually like running around now?
You know what? Let me look. No. They came out, as far as I know. I wonder if there's photos of them. look up the CRISPR babies. CRISPR. These are the first genetically, the like lab made DNA modified kids. Weird. Not weird. I don't mean to say that because it's not weird. Okay, what the shite? Am I spelling it wrong? What have I done? CRISPR. CRISPR.
Because they want it, what they want to do is they want to use this technology to make people live forever. So like when our DNA replicates itself and then it dies off, like cells will die off and then new ones re-replicate. And as we get older, we slowly stop re-replicating. So what the new technologies they want to do is they want to make us be able to replicate at whatever age we choose. And our DNA will just slowly re-replicate that DNA age.
2018. So they're 5. In 2018, Dr. He something announced the birth of the world's first genetically engineered babies, Lulu and Nana. They had their genome edited with CRISPR to confer resistance to HIV infection. So when they put this guy in the people 50 or Time or whoever's 50 most influential people,
yes,
they said they gave it like in a bad way. They're like, on a bad note, here's another influential asshole. And the person who wrote the commentary for that article was one of the discoverers of gene modification through the CRISPR system. So I thought it was interesting
so he
that
got
she was,
out.
yeah, big time. There are multiple concerns associated with CRISPR, including the unintended consequences of using the cutting edge, I love that they said that, technology on people. Furthermore, heritable genome editing is not yet ready to be tried safely and effectively in humans. Thus, it is critical that this activity could only proceed when it provides the most favorable balance of benefits and harms. Like when your kids could get myocarditis because, fuck
Right.
them.
No, but
Something
we're
like
going to
that.
sell this new pill that helps prevent myocarditis.
Medical examinations have been performed on the gene-edited children, including blood tests. These were conducted at birth, at 1 and 6 months, and at 1 year of age. Liver function tests will follow this at age 5 and IQ tests at age 10. And there is HIV testing. These are indeed laudable.
At what point do these kids wake up and realize they're a science experiment? And are they allowed to stop being experimented on when they become aware?
That's the shitty part. They can't. I mean, how could they be allowed to? I mean, they should be allowed to stop it, but are they allowed to have children?
Well,
are their kids considered gene modified as well?
Right.
I don't know. At present, there are still very serious risks associated with CRISPR. Safety is a huge concern. For instance, there's a danger of mosaicism. This happens when some of the cells carry the edit, but others may not.
It's like how things skip a generation. So like your great grandfather might have been bald, your grandfather wasn't, then you so you know what I mean?
Yeah, what's interesting is they're twins born from the same, crispy DNA. Ugh, that makes it sound gross. But still one's DNA. I guess that's when genetics come into it.
Yeah, they just
even though
cloned
they're
it like
the same, they're still
plant.
different. How weird. In the second. Yeah, so I think that's it. And another note, a third baby was born in 2019 in some secret location. Encouraged by the success of Lulu and Nana's parents, a couple went on with the implantation of an embryo. Whoa, I didn't know that. Does anybody knew that?
See, like how they engineered Yao Ming, they're engineering these babies in some lab underground somewhere.
They didn't really engineer him. They did the thing where it's like reset regression into the mean or whatever, where
he was the beginning of, now they're full on doing the engineering of humans.
Yeah, another baby was born. Well, I don't understand. If dude
these
wasn't
are just
allowed
the ones
to do
they're telling you about,
how the
right?
fuck did they get these parents the right to do it?
But these are just the ones they're telling you about. Think how many that they're not telling you about that went wrong. So they're only telling you about the successful experiments so far.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that was the that man. I forgot about that. I learned about the CRISPR dude a while ago, but I think that was the problem, is that he had to admit of how many didn't work. So he'd been trying and trying and trying. That means he's killing real, actual, viable human people or whatever.
And then that's when they're like,
there are hundreds of people around the world with home CRISPR tech. With home CRISPR tech.
Do you think it would be justified if you'd say we can cure breast cancer, but we have to kill 1 million people tomorrow.
I'm sorry, say it again. I was reading chat.
Would it be, what do you think if you could say we could cure breast cancer from Earth?
Mm-hmm.
We can kill 1 million Americans tomorrow, and it's just like a random draw out of a hat who dies.
I don't.
So you
I
could
don't
die,
think
your
it's worth
kids
it.
could die, but
I don't
Earth
think it's
wouldn't
worth
have
it.
breast cancer. Would it be worth it?
Nah.
100
think
million,
so.
like 5 million. What, like, is there a number?
It's like saying suffering, any type of suffering is bad. I don't find
One
suffering
person.
to
What if
be.
it just? What if you
So,
just had to kill one dude and there'd be no more breast cancer?
fine, fuck them.
What about one baby?
No, I'm saying I don't think just one. I mean,
See, it's good. It's
just
hard.
one. I mean,
It's so hard
whose
ethically,
baby?
right? It's a battle.
Do I know this baby?
It's such a hard ethical decision, right? Like, you could save 1 million women in the future, but you have to choke this one baby with your bare hands to death.
Hideous says he's down to cure breast cancer and sacrifice all the Canadians.
You don't have the strength to choke a Canadian baby.
What? I don't even know what the comeback to that could be. How weird, little strong Canadians.
Those lumberjack necks.
Lumberjack necks. They should be sterilized immediately so they don't pass on any Canadian genetics, contaminated genetics. Oh, I'm not sharing this.
I try to
into the
tell you guys to
human-
either invade or build a wall. You won't listen.
Y'all be lying, giving the people what they want.
Hey, look,
Okay,
Chinese
it's-
scientists grow human. Scroll down.
I'm already off the page. I went to where PB was. Meet the guy biohacking puppies to make them glow in the dark. This man. It was after a home invasion almost a decade ago that David Ishii first got interested in breeding dogs. A burglar with a gun had broken into his home in Mississippi, where Ishii was sleeping along with his wife, 3-year-old daughter, and newborn son. Ishii pulled out his own shotgun and scared the would-be thief off, but he was unsettled, wondering what might have happened had he not been around. Ishii wanted a guard dog, a giant,
minute.
docile mastiff.
So he wanted a glow-in-the-dark dog so the intruder could get a better shot at it?
Oh, we're gonna find out. Like so many carefully bred dogs, he wants one that's big and good around kids, like a mastiff. Mastiffs are riddled with genetic disorders, though, so Ishii decided to start breeding them himself, with plans to increase their genetic diversity and hopefully making them healthier, happier, and more fit. Over just a few generations, he saw results. Gone was the sagging skin and oversized head that makes so many mastiffs look goofy. Oh my god, I like that about him. He told me his dog could jump higher and run faster than the most other mastiffs can. Well, my dog's going to be the first one on Mars. I could already tell because she's a genius.
Yeah, he's
so
the Mars
that.
dog.
But because the majority of the genetic disorders dogs suffer from are recessive, Ishii could not simply breed them out. Last year, he decided to try genetic engineering, and after watching a TED Talk about scientists creating glowing plants using cutting-edge genetic engineering technology like CRISPR, could he do the same thing with his dog at home?
Yeah, just
My dogs are healthy, but they are still probably carrying genes from all kinds of diseases, he told me. To produce not just a healthy dog, but a truly healthy population, you have to be able to totally get rid of the diseases somehow. Ishii is 30 and lives on a few acres of land in the Mississippi countryside where, when not breeding dogs, he makes a living as an operator at an oil field plant. His daughter was born when he was 18, so after getting his GED, he didn't have the time or the money to go to college. He didn't know much about genetic engineering, but he knew a lot about dogs. It's also worth mentioning that Ishii is a pretty huge nerd. All of his dogs are named for mythological creatures like Osiris, the Egyptian god of afterlife. His breeding
He's
operation...
a nerdy high school dropout oil rig worker. Extra doubt.
What's wrong with why? That seems to be normal.
So he didn't finish high school, but he's into Egyptian gods.
He did. He didn't finish it the way some of us did, but he got his GED. That's the equivalent. He has the same education as someone who did.
My
Same
spidey
knowledge.
senses are tingling.
Because you are a classist. Okay. Ishii started messing around, trying to grow bacteria using Jell-O and bouillon cubes. Eventually, he called Josiah Zahner, a synthetic biologist who left NASA to sell CRISPR kits to the masses and hopefully spur a biohacker revolution. You could fucking buy a CRISPR kit. Hold on, I need to get. Oh my god,
where's my X button?
What?
I need my X
CRISPR
button.
kits.
X to doubt. X to
Shut
doubt.
the hell up, a CRISPR kit. I wouldn't even know. What are you gonna do? I'm like, I put my burrito in there. It's gonna come out a damn steak. I know it. What? Oh, that's creepy. People can just do this at home. I
Do you
love
think it
this.
works? It's probably like
Yes, we're
the
gonna read
oven
about it.
baking cakes. Remember what was that? My Little Ovens? What you called those
Yeah,
things?
yeah. Easy bake.
Easy bakes, yeah.
With less than $1,000 and some advice from Zahner, he joined the growing ranks of DIY gene hackers, building a lab in his shed capable of basic genetic engineering. He ordered some DNA from photohabus luminescence or something, a bioluminescent bacteria, off the internet and cultivated it in his lab. Then he took sperm from a male dog and, using a technique called
How did he collect that
sperm-mediated
sperm?
gene transfer, he needed gloves for this, infused it with genes from the glowing
How did he
bacteria.
put it in the female dog?
Another glove was needed. This glowing sperm concoction is what he did is he drank the glowing sperm and then he fucked the dog. Pretty sure.
That sounds more plausible.
This glowing sperm concoction is what he eventually used to impregnate a female dog with the hopes of making puppies that glow. It's basically artificial insemination with a few steps in the middle. Breeders do artificial insemination all the time. His dog is now pregnant. She's due in October. Hopefully, then. Why wouldn't you just wait till October to tell us this?
No, because
Where
it's
the
not
hell is the
believable then.
dog? Ishi's goal, of course, isn't just to make glowing Frankenpuppies. The glowing puppies are just proof of concept. Eventually, he wants to sequence the genomes of all of his dogs to check for common genetic conditions among mastiffs. Like fuck, dude. By the time you figure out this dog shit, you're not going to need a guard dog anymore.
He's only doing this on the weekends, mind you.
How weird. Okay, so if you're like, if you go to buy a dog and he tells you that he has genetically modified your mastiff to make him look like, dude, isn't there a breed standard that Ishi's fucking with here? I'm pretty sure,
Probably.
like, all of that is breed standard. He doesn't like it. He should have got a
Yeah, if you don't
Great
have your
Dane.
if you don't have lineage.
That's weird. Yeah, yeah, that's really weird. I mean, if the dog is white, you put it down because it'll fuck the breed. If it's glowing, what are you supposed to do?
Burn it.
You can't burn it, though. They won't burn. They burn proof. We have the technology to solve these problems, but no one in the science community has an interest in solving them in dogs. Dog breeders have interest.
If there's money involved, they'll do it. Don't you worry.
This is incredibly useful tech. There's no reason we shouldn't be breeding dogs in the same way we did thousands of years ago. I mean, yeah, do your thing. It seems if it's not okay, even I guess.
Have you seen bioluminescence in the water?
I don't think so.
Oh, type that in YouTube. Swimming with bioluminescence. It's on my bucket list of things to do if I ever win the lottery.
Is that expensive?
No,
You
it's
could just
free.
go fuck this guy's dog.
No, it's free. Whoa, whoa. I'm not a white lady.
Well, is it plankton? Not.
Yes.
Swimming with bioluminescent. Not advised. Things like bioluminescent algae with twinkling along the seascape can poison sea life from fish to sea turtles and can make human. Okay, we're gonna have a GoFundMe. We're gonna get this off of his bucket list immediately. Let's let him
Let's make it
swim
happen,
with
folks.
the
Let's make it
fishies.
happen. Go to YouTube, type it in. There's videos of people doing it. It's really
Swimmers
cool.
dive into dazzling. Ooh.
Yeah.
How do I know if any of this is real?
Go to YouTube and show people.
I am. Oh, well, I'm not at YouTube. I'm just at videos.
Oh, there. Any of these, I guess.
3, 2, 1, go.
That's all natural.
You getting poisoned?
No, that's just the bioluminescent bacteria in the water. They're like plankton.
Oh, you sure he ain't getting?
I think you're from like a different
I would just
country.
throw stuff in it.
You're from a different country and you just see this shit. You could trick somebody into thinking you're a magician.
Or a witch. Dive in. Oh my god. That's so dope.
Right? There's better videos than that one,
Glowing
though. That was
water.
just someone's home video.
Oh,
There,
that's rad.
the waves bringing it in. So it's dark until it's agitated, and then it's like a defense mechanism or something with the plankton.
And it's how come it says you shouldn't go into it?
I have no idea. People do all the
Whoa,
time.
this is rad.
Right? Think if you had a nice joint and you're on the beach and these fucking electric waves are crashing. Or you can go out and just splash in it and all the electricity's around you. It's not really electricity.
Please do it, Nova. I donate. How much you need? I got you. Yeah, I
It's
just
only
saw
like
it's so
certain times
dangerous
of
to
the
swim
year, so
in.
it's like a seasonal event.
American oceans. Things like bioluminescent algae that twinkle along the seascape can... Whoa, let's look at that. Where did it go? Oh my God, too much is happening. Here it is. This is amazing. If I didn't know
Sweet.
better, I would be like, this is just fake.
Right?
Okay, things like algae twinkle along the seascape can poison sea life from fish to turtle and can make humans very sick if they come into contact with it. So swimming is not advised. The most famous bioluminescence location in the world is Mosquito Bay. Mosquito Bay, though?
Puerto
Fuck all
Rico,
that.
folks. Let's
I'm
go.
gonna go get bit by mosquitoes so that the algae water, the glowing algae water can kill me. Nope. Swimming with the organisms is no longer permitted. Look, you can't even do this, Nova. Nova.
I'll still do it. They're gonna put me in jail for a day.
I'll still do it. Yeah, you might as well. That was really cool. That must have been why that dude was swimming so fast to get out of it. Is human skin bioluminescent? Surprisingly, yes. Human skin is considered bioluminescent. According to a recent study by Japanese scientists and researchers, human bioluminescence is possible and exists in high invisible light. However, our eyes are unable to pick up this. So when people say they can
different
see our
wavelengths.
auras,
Yeah, so
is that
different
it?
wavelengths. You could see shit. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's so cool. What? I just learned something I wasn't expecting.
I think you can feel people's auras.
You do?
Yeah.
It's called women's intuition. How strong is it in you?
No, I think it like not women's intuition, but same. You can feel it around like men have different auras. Like your alpha males, when you're in a room with one, you're like, oh, I can tell. Oh, there, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
People,
Is that a real thing? Chat, tell me.
It's like people who like a group of people gravitate towards in a room without being directed. Do you know what I mean?
That makes them the alpha?
They just have an aura that attracts people to them.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I've never.
Comedians are really good at it, right? Like they're not.
Is that their
doing
aura
anything.
or their personality? And they're like, just sitting there, I wouldn't think they're going to have people attracted to them.
I think some people do have that power.
If that were true, they wouldn't be so lonely. You need to tell
Like
us
attractive people have that power. They can just sit somewhere and people will just start coming up to them.
Because they want to fuck them. That's not the same thing as like having an aura. It's your face and your features and your clothes, maybe, but I don't think aura. This was super cool. Thank you for showing me this.
You're welcome. I think it's all over the world. There's different places all over the world too.
I'm still blown away that you can bite your own.
Would you walk in it? You may not swim in it, but would you walk in it?
Cheers. Well, I need to know more about what's bad about it, you know, because I'm not going to fuck up anything.
They're just discouraging people
water,
from.
no.
I don't think it's really bad for you. There's so many videos out there of people swimming in it and playing in it.
That doesn't mean it's not bad for you. People are idiots. Let's see what it says here. Let me go back to the top. Oh, wait, that's what it was. Is it safe to swim? In some cases, it's not harmful. It's simply a natural defense mechanism. Marine creatures like plankton, ship, and squid.
It probably depends which beach and where
other
you're at, right? If it's a
cases,
dirty harbor.
So yeah, I guess it depends on what's happening. Toxins that are harmful to fish, humans, and other creatures can come into contact with. It is probably best if you avoid swimming just to be safe.
So with fish, I would assume it gets in their gills and chokes them out of air, would be my guess.
Let's ask the internet real quick. What time is it? I have to leave. I've got 9 minutes. I've got something to do today, but I want to look up the effects of bioluminescence on humans.
What was it? Do you remember the movie The Beach?
No.
Really?
Is it Leonardo DiCaprio? Oh, I did see that. That was confusing.
It was go back and rewatch it. It stands up. But I think they swim in bioluminescent water.
I don't understand the movie. There's no evidence that bioluminescence is harmful to humans. However, some bioluminescent algae can be harmful to humans if consumed in high concentrations. Some species of bioluminescent algae
water. Yeah, thanks, Tips.
Huh?
It's saying don't drink the water with it in it.
Yeah. This is also WebMD, so I mean, usually if I had clicked into this, you'd be like, go to a fucking different page, but whatever. Some
I
species
gave
of
up. I,
bioluminescent algae, like the sea sparkle, are not very poisonous, but can still have unpleasant side effects. Let's look. Some species, like evidence suggests bioluminescence can be a sign of change in the environment, pollution, global warming. Oh my God, what if that was the effect of global warming? Give us the global warming.
all right, the whole
Warm
ocean
the
be like
Pacific
that.
Ocean next. Evidence also suggests that it can be a sign of change. Oh yeah, I just read that.
I'm surprised people haven't. Want to start a business, Div?
Yeah, what
I
is
think
it?
we should start this and get some scientists, and we'll cultivate this bioluminescent plankton, and then we can sell it to people to put in their swimming pools at home.
I think we should put the bioluminescent plankton in our tomato French and our ketchup fry tree, and have
Ooh,
glowing
tomatoes,
yeah, something will have to glow.
or glow in the dark weed plant. Then you could always find your weed when it was somewhere.
When it was somewhere, when your weed gets up to hiding from you, you'll always be able to find it. Okay, that's it. I don't think there's anything else. I think it's important to know that Margaret Sanger never had an abortion and was against abortion, and she gets, Roe, that the lady from Roe v. Wade,
Yes,
she never had an abortion either. So it's kind of like the same thing where she gets like shit on a lot for something that she never participated in.
I don't like her because she has big earlobes.
I could tell you really hated her. Damn. She was old and had like a hard ass life. She was born in
I
the
can see why she was divorced.
early 1900s.
Imagine trying to sleep
She
with
was
that.
you should have seen, fuck out of here. She was really cute when she was younger. There were a lot of pictures of her younger. She had she kept herself neat
Were
and
they
tidy. Her hair
engraved
was
in
always
stone
done.
tablets?
Huh?
Her younger photos, were they like engraved in stone tablets?
Dude, no, they're just like there's a picture of the other guy. Let me look her up. Margaret.
You gotta go.
I got 3 more minutes. Images. Here she is. Look at her. She fuck you up. Can you see her?
Yes.
See, she's not ugly. She just, once you
She
get
looks like
old.
Mama JF.
Oh my Lanta.
See it? You see it.
Kind of. I actually do see it in this picture a
Right,
lot.
just that one. Yeah, that one. The other ones I don't see it, but
She looks sad.
knowing her future.
She has that Mama JF look to her for real. She might have been retarded.
Yeah, the IBDI thing. Yeah. Looks like a man in drag there.
Kinda. She's a plappa. Whoa, I don't understand. If you look at the pictures
Beehive
from this
claw.
time, all of the women did their hair and like made it come down so only like an inch of their freaking forehead was showing. It is so bizarre. It looks like they're all wearing wigs.
That's what the ugly chicks would do.
No, all of them did it. It was like
I
what
know.
the cool chicks were doing. See this? This
Yeah,
like
it's the coif. It probably keeps the hair off their neck when it's hot in the summer because they didn't have AC.
I think she's pretty.
I think you're drunk.
I'm drunk. I have to go home. I mean, she obviously aged, a little rough, but
yes.
Yes,
Darth, they do have saltwater pools. I worked at a hotel in Jasper, and the hotel's pool was a heated outdoor saltwater pool. It was amazing.
Here she's getting older. Oh, is this really her?
Yeah, she got the herpes. Yeah,
you got a little something on your lip there, girl. Okay. That's it. I'm going to close all of these tabs, I think. I just want to click on them and make sure I did. Eugenics. So there are some states you can still get sterilized today. California is still leading it. We are the ones who taught the Germans how to do it. And what else?
It was the Democrats. We'll blame the Democrats.
I was actually going to say that, but I'm like, I don't think I did enough research to say that.
I'll say it, and then you can backtrack me.
Okay, that works out. All right. Well, I do have to go in just a couple more minutes. Let's say bye to chat. Squabob, sigmas are better. Deep surface frequency is the key to everything. Thanks for joining us, Deep Surface. If anyone is here and they didn't like this video or follow this channel, that'd be super dope if you did.
Yes.
Oh yeah, the Leo movie, he probably told the locals he would help with something, and then he didn't just to get a movie shot. I'm a little behind. I don't know what that means. Oh shit, cheers. Everyone's getting their smoke on. You need to do that in your backyard pond, and they seem to only exist in saltwater. I don't know what's happening. She looks like a hammerhead. I appreciate your honesty.
Brittany Venti.
Oh, Brittany? Oh,
She said her spirit animal's a hammerhead shark.
she's a mess. But I bet you would. Do you agree with her on the things that she says?
I haven't watched her in a long time.
I think you would.
When I first knew of her, she did a 23andMe and found out she had like 1/8% black in her. So she started making like African mud pies and eating dirt pies and stuff.
Shut the fuck up.
I can't make it up. Look up Brittany Venti and eating mud pies or dirt pies
I'm
to
doing
get
it.
in
I don't
touch with
care
your
if I'm
African
late.
heritage.
Fuck
See,
outta here.
YouTube used to be the Wild West, so the more like extreme you could be, the more people would tune in. Before people cried my racism stuff, it was all jokes back in the day.
Brittany mud
We're talking
pie.
like 2015, 2016.
First thing that comes up on Reddit. Why do people like Brittany Venti? Imagine if this was you. Like, fuck.
She's calmed down and more like normal now.
No, I guess I didn't know her then, but if this is normal, 24-hour Twitch, 24-hour bans Brittany Venti for mud cake cooking.
Can't see, but yeah. Yeah, I told you. Because she was just getting in touch with her African side because she did the DNA test.
Is that just funny? Is she's just doing like a grift? Because
No,
that's funny unless you're serious.
No, I think she really did the DNA test and she really did have like, I think it was like 8% or 1% African DNA, whatever it was. So then she embraced her ethnicity because it made the liberals on YouTube cry back then. See?
Okay, let's see.
It got a little bit complicated for Twitch because they assumed her race in the email, which is what she points out here.
If someone were to paint your race or country in a negative light, I'm sure it would make you feel hurt and upset as well.
And
so she's getting shit on for doing it because it was a joke.
Right.
Well, that's different than I commend the joke. I think that's fucking hilarious. I'm 1%. I'm gonna eat the mud pie. That I like. I actually like her more that she did that. Ooh.
Yes. Yeah.
But if doing that seriously, it's like, oh god, I hate you. I actually hate this raccoon more than I hate.
Yeah, don't go full Rachel Dolezal.
Rachel Dolezal did more for the Black community than her. I don't know how to end this without being the racism.
Just end it. Just go. And we're out.
All right, dudes. Thank you for hanging out with us. Like the video. We're going to be back tomorrow. I don't exactly know what the topic is, but it could be Project Bluebeam. How do you feel about that, Nova?
Project what?
Bluebeam?
Bluebeam. I don't know Project Bluebeam.
We got to talk about it because it's about the alien invasion that's going to be fake because the powers that be actually wanted to pretend that God's coming back because they want to trick all the Jews into like actually fucking whatever they want to do there.
But I'm interested.
We have to know what's going to happen so that when it happens, we know what it is. And so we should probably get that over with soon because they did the alien shits. The end of the world's already about to happen. So might want to talk about Project Bluebeam a little bit tomorrow.
All right, let's hit that up.
Yeah. Okay. So chat, that's our plan. If between now and then something else pops into my brain, then we could do that. But expect some alien talk tomorrow. Thanks for hanging out with us. I'm going home. Don't listen to Squab. Why are we talking about we love Canadians.
You need us, or otherwise you have to start looking at yourselves.
All right. Bye, guys. We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Oh, wait. You know what? I forgot to show you guys this. Hold on. I made a freaking overlay for when I take the show off into the weeds. Watch. And actually, it's woods because the AI wouldn't let me hit weed because they thought I was a drug addict. So I had to take the show
we used
to
to
the
call
woods.
it you're off in the rhubarb because if you drove.
Sorry, I forgot it muted you. There's another one for when you do it. When you do it, it looks more like this.
Do it.
Yeah, the fuck you do. And that's me trying to hold on to keep chat sane.
And I grew octopus arms.
Oh yeah, I love cursed AI. That's very, very fun. There are 3 arms on him, and
it's still her fault. She's the one jerking the wheel and taking 3 of my hands to try and bring it back.
Something like that. All right, bye guys. We'll see you tomorrow.
Peace.